that things are changing in the MEAC.
Well, for more on this, we bring in the third member of our team, Sam Smith. Sam?
All right, Dwayne and Mark, you guys have been talking about the little things. I want to talk about the big question. How will Willie Jeffries go out? I'm not talking about a win or a loss. I'm talking about whether he'll be carried off or will he get a Gatorade shower. After last week's win over North Carolina A&T, he got both the shower and the send-off. Talking to some of the players before the game, they say they're going to wait and see how the flow of the game goes. That sounds like a Gatorade shower, guys.
We'll see, Sam. Could be anything. This is truly going to be Willie Jeffries' day. The kickoff of his final game when we come back. Airways quarterback comparison for the two.
David Johnson replacing Dontrell Leonard, who had a passing in the family, so he will get the start this afternoon. Reese McCampbell, the better of the option quarterbacks here. You'll also see Brett Young at the quarterback position for South Carolina State. All right, McCampbell, an interesting story. Dwayne, the leader in pass offense efficiency, whatever that stat means, but he is #1 in that.
Terry Cornett kicks off, and it is fielded by Larry Grant, and we are underway from Orangeburg. Grant, the return out to the 34-yard line, tackled by Marcus Gray.
And this kid, Grant, a true freshman who leads the team in receptions. They've been trying to spread the offense vertically here for the past few seasons.
Saw the quarterback today for South Carolina State will be Reese McCampbell beginning. But you will see a lot of Brett Young on. McCampbell, 624 yards, passing 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions this season. He is more of an option quarterback. When he is in, expect them to run more. The man in motion is Johnny Allen. Out of the shotgun, he has Allen. And there are tricks on the first play. It's caught by Carlo Hurd. Kyle Grove there defensively. First down for the Bulldogs. Coach Jeffries didn't waste any time.
Pulling out all the stops already on his final day. It's your proverbial flanker screen. And then he looks downfield and is going to just zero in the man. If he's able to get it out there and lead him just a little bit farther, Hurd, a 6'2", 215-pound senior, is probably still running right now.
So it's first down and 10 at the 36-yard line of Norfolk State for South Carolina State. The pitch back to Kambui Maxwell, who's their leading rusher, but he is corralled quickly by Raphael Butts. Our United States Postal Service starting lineup, backs and receivers for South Carolina State.
Maxwell, the leading ground gainer here in Orangeburg. That Terrence Metcalf, if that last name sounds familiar, he is in fact the son of the NFL great Terry and the all-time punt returner brother of Eric Metcalf. Dewani Flagler is replacing in the lineup Rodrigo Rogers at that right tackle position.
Loss of 1 on the play. It's Maxwell again over the right side. He breaks a couple of tackles before Jamal Najee brings him down.
And there's a name we'll be calling a lot today, the very active Jamal Najee, one of the better defensive performers in the entire league. Plays the left end position, 40 solo tackles, 2.5 sacks, 52 total. As we look at the USPS Norfolk State starting defensive line, the aforementioned Najee is definitely a highlight. Von McAfee, one of the more underrated linebackers, probably because his team is struggling in the conference. Marcus Gray, one of the top safeties in the league as well.
Third and short, Maxwell over the left side, has the first down, but not much more, and he may have lost it on progress or lack thereof. Tackled by Marcus Gray.
Boy, he's active in pass coverage, active coming up, getting physical. And Mr. Maxwell, a tough, hard-nosed running back, will move the chains. But that kid Gray out of Winston-Salem led the team with 60 tackles from his safety position. Now, normally you would think that that's a bad thing, but just like we see with Levy Brown at Florida A&M, he's active, he's aggressive. That's a product of the design or the scheme of the defense.
First down and 10 for the Bulldogs at the 25. This time McCampbell looking to the air. Just beyond the outstretched hands of Wesley Middleton.
Boy, so Willie Jeffries going into the creative bag of tricks, playing aggressive. This is a slant pattern, and this is a good strike from a guy who's known as a running quarterback, setting in the pocket confidently, splits the seam of the zone defense right there. You see Kyle Grove in there on coverage. He had a step. They just couldn't connect.
Remains 10 yards to go for a first. Second down. Maxwell joined in the backfield by Eric Washington. Campbell rolling to his right. Has a receiver. Nice grab by Terrence Metcalf.
Safe, quarterback-friendly route. Use the mobility of your quarterback and have him eyeing a receiver who's running a safe pattern, which is on the same side of the field as he is. See, nothing fancy. He's not naked. He has protection out there. Nice route by Metcalf, giving his quarterback a target. Nice tightrope job to get his feet down. 1st and 10.
Campbell to Maxwell, who doesn't really get far, thanks to Vaughn McAfee and Kyron Copeland.
Boy, that McAfee is ever so active, but this kid Maxwell, and I know we're on the first drive of the first time that we've seen South Carolina State this year, but he's got to be one of the toughest runners we've seen to this point. I mean, this guy delivers punishment. He hits the hole quickly. Got to admire the kid from the nation's capital.
5'8", 205-pound junior, 752 yards rushing coming into this game, a team-high 11 points. He is now in motion on 2nd down and 11, looking for Metcalf in the end zone. There is a marker down.
I think we're going to have Groves that time, if I'm not mistaken, in there. Going to be a little bit early in jumping on the shoulders of Metcalf. And if he was early, it was ever so slight. Let's check out Mike Pavisi's call.
Kyle Grove has 3 interceptions coming into this game. Here's Pavisi, our referee.
There is no infraction for pass interference on the play. The pass was ruled uncatchable.
So the fact that it was uncatchable deems it no flag. Negates what penalty there would have been. Coach Jeffries, you see the numbers there. This is a remarkable man, friends. Graduate of South Carolina State in 1960. 29 seasons total, the winningest coach in South Carolina State history. We will talk much more about him throughout this telecast because this is in honor of him. His Bulldogs have it 3rd and 11 at the 13 of Norfolk State. We are scoreless, 11:58 into our final telecast of the regular season, and that's a touchdown for the Bulldogs. Carlo Hurd.
Well, who says Reese McCampbell is a running quarterback? He threw some nice touch passes on this drive. This is a fade, a corner route. A little bit of a sort of skinny post corner. Hurd goes out there right over the outstretched arms of the defender that time, Alton Perkins. But a touchdown and a very efficient and stellar-looking opening drive for the Bulldogs, DB.
Guy DePaula on for the extra point, and he misses wide to the left. So South Carolina State and Willie Jeffries will have to settle for 6 instead of 7. They're up early. Bulldogs have gone up 6-0, and they did it with efficiency, Mark.
Yeah, you got to admire Reese McCampbell, who's known as a running quarterback, with a beautiful touch pass over the cornerback right into the hands of Carlos Hurd, who was a very active performer on that 9-play, 66-yard drive. Took only 3 minutes and 8 seconds, and this National Car Rental scoring drive capped by that 13-yard touchdown catch by Carlo Hurd. So a very efficient drive, you know, mixing in the run with the pass. Ironically, Willie Jeffries' MOs throughout his career has been use the run, pass very little. How ironic is that his team comes out and is so efficient moving down the field via the air in his final game at home.
Frank Ziegler set to kick it away to Norfolk State. And it's Ben Anderson pulling his way up to about the 34-yard line where LaQuantus Point, who makes so many plays for them on special teams, was there to stop him. You will hear his name a lot this afternoon, number 51 for South Carolina State on special teams.
Well, here has been the biggest dilemma to face Norfolk State through the entire Mo Forte era. How do they jumpstart their offense? And today, the dilemma is that they will be jumpstarting this offense with a second-string quarterback.
1st and 10 for Norfolk State at the 38. And breaking outside is William Smith. Tackled by Anthony Gathers. Another familiar name you'll hear, Gathers. He is the cousin
Of jumping gathers. That's right, the former Washington Redskin. Of course, we look at the Norfolk State backs and receivers as we get a look at the USPS starting lineups. Will Smith, very talented back, averaging about 3.5 yards per carry. Arabian Parker, stellar left tackle, anchoring that offensive front.
Smith picked up a first down, has an opportunity for more, but this time Derek Harrison and crew close quickly on him. Our USPS defensive line starting lineup for South Carolina State.
Boy, that guy Ken Jones, they allow him to get into the meal line after the games twice because he plays both sides of the football, starts at the end on defense and tight end on offense. Dreek Poole, they tell me, is a superstar in the making at right linebacker, and in the defensive backfield to Whit Ellerby, a veteran who sort of anchors the defensive backs.
Pickup of 2 on the play. Johnson wanted to do something instead of being sacked, and he just ran into a lot of trouble. Mr. Jones, one of them.
Well, Jones gets a good bull rush there. The big fella getting pressure from up front, but this is a bit of a coverage sack. They showed blitz stepping up into the line, but then they dropped back into a two-deep zone, pardon me, so he was looking for something quick, but the linebackers on the strong side and the cornerback underneath rolled, and that took away his passing lanes, which allowed Jones to get in there for the sack.
Loss of 5 on that sack. Brings up 3rd and 13 for David Johnson in Norfolk State, trying to answer an opening touchdown by South Carolina State. King Jones had him wrapped up, and it was nearly intercepted.
That was Lester Davis that time, who had the ball go right between his hands.
So South Carolina State's defense willed whole and forces Norfolk State into the first punting situation of the day for Willie Jeffries.
So a great start. You know, the edge certainly emotionally early on is with South Carolina State. Traditionally over the last few years, these two teams get together, and takes a while for the offenses to get on track.
Terry Cornett punting away to Leonard Goolsby. Goolsby averaging 7.7 per return. And he is simply run down by Anthony Dillard over the far sideline. So South Carolina State will take its second possession of the afternoon, leading 6-0 here in Orangeburg. Willie Jeffries' final game.
I admire Coach Jeffries a lot. He's just an outstanding coach, a great man. He could have been a teacher, preacher, doctor, lawyer, and a comedian. You know, he's probably missed his calling in the latter, but he's done some great work here for college football, especially black college football. He was the first African-American to coach on a historically white campus, did an outstanding job at Wichita. He was very instrumental in helping the BCA get founded, the Black Coaches Association. He's just a tremendous man. In my opinion, he's the best coach in America.
The words of Billy Joel, Florida A&M coach, on Willie Jeffries. On first down, Jeffries' Bulldogs try to run it with Maxwell, but Vaughn McAfee is there defensively for Norfolk State. Willie Jeffries has made such an impact on so many people, Mark.
Oh, man, from reporters like us through, you know, the legendary players, guys like Robert Porcher who are in the league right now, to even guys like this young fella, Kambui Maxwell. So when you look at Coach Jeffries, he may not be walking the sidelines next year, but certainly his legacy will cast a shadow over this program, much like Robinson and Grambling, Louisiana.
On second down, it's Maxwell into the secondary, close to a first down before he's tripped up by my partner, Mark Gray.
No, my friend. I played on the corner. This kid's a safety. He covers acreage. I covered ground, and that was just a guy rotating out there doing a good job to fill the hole. When you're getting pressure up front like they did that time, it allows the defensive backs to step up and make plays. So the front seven doing a great job at allowing a safety as good as Marcus Gray to make big plays.
South Carolina State 3rd and 1, and it's on 29, already up 6-0. McCampbell keeps it, should have enough for the first down. South Carolina State opened up with the opening possession, drove downfield, very efficient mixture of pass and run, with McCampbell throwing the touchdown pass to Carlo Hurd. They go up 6-0 and now find themselves looking for more after a nice defensive hold by that unit.
Well, South Carolina State's offense has not been the problem this year, averaging just under 363 yards, which is 4th in the conference this year. McCampbell looking a lot like the former great quarterback, Arthur Marshall.
On the option is Maxwell. May have picked up 3, but boy, did Mike Kelly and Vaughn McAfee respond quickly.
Well, in order to defend the option, you got to stay at home. And the linebackers do a good job of filling their gaps and forcing him to pitch early. Now, when he pitches early, it means a longer time for Maxwell to get to the line of scrimmage. And then you've got the guys like McAfee right there coming up in there for his 11th tackle of loss on the season.
McAfee, a 6'1", 230-pound senior. On second down, McCampbell's running, has the first down, and probably wisely goes down.
Boy, Maxwell got sprung around that corner. I think it's going to be, watch number 5 throw a block that I think coming up right about here is going to take, I believe, was that McAfee out of the play? No, that's 56 Mike Washington, a sophomore linebacker out of Hopewell, Virginia. Number 5 just gets taken out right there, and that allows McCampbell to get into the secondary and pick up the first down. So Maxwell showing versatility, running between the tackles, getting to the outside, and throwing blocks here early on.
That 14-yard pickup sets up first down. To the air he goes. That pass was tipped, intended for Johnny Allen. Kyron Copeland was there defensively.
And I think the tip was by Jamal Najee with a nice deflection of a pass that looks like a rejection that basketball coach Will Jones would be pleased to see. Watch it right here. Big meat cleaver up right there, number 98. Flicks it. 6'4", 260 pounds. I think Will wouldn't mind having him in the low block. There's your proverbial wide body.
2nd and 10 from the 49 of South Carolina State. Bulldogs lead 7-0. Maxwell on the delay. Mike Kelly on the stop.
Staple of MEAC offenses we've seen over the last couple of weeks, that sprint draw action. So effective at Hampton, so effective with Florida A&M last week, and from ground level, you can see the little delay, which allows the trap to open right up the middle. Rogers and Jelks open up a big hole, and Maxwell finds his way through there. And you saw him trying to cool himself down. For this to be Thanksgiving weekend, it's kind of hot.
Pickup of 7 on the play, 3rd and 3. Now that was power running.
Marcus Gray is clapping his hands right now, but I'm sure it's quite difficult. Because watch, you get a sprint draw again, trap up the middle, and then look at that violent collision right there. Frankie Williams just delivered a shot to Marcus Gray, and he'll be talking about that one in his sleep.
Williams, 5'10", 215-pound sophomore from West Palm Beach. On 1st and 10 from the 35. McCampbell runs the option well, but his run down loses the ball out of bounds. Leon Grove and Mike Kelly in pursuit.
Yeah, but the guys like McAfee and Gray do a good job of stringing it out. See, look at number 9 is Gray. 57 was McAfee, who's picked off prior to that pitch, but they just string that play outside. They took away the rush lane for the quarterback and the option of pitching to the tailback, and the result is about a 5-yard loss.
So it's 2nd and 14. McCampbell looking to go to the air. Under pressure, drops it off to Williams, who slips. And is stopped by McAfee.
Well, the ubiquitous Vaughn McAfee forced the back to cut inside, and that's what cost him his footing. See, McAfee, they have it set up here. There's one player out there and 3 blockers, and watch. He's going to force him to cut back inside. If he's able to continue to the outside, he's able to turn on the jets. And this senior from Temple Hills, Maryland, doesn't have a whole lot of hardware to show for it, but he's had a fine career at Norfolk State. Pickup
of 2. It's still 3rd and long, 12 to be specific. Now in the game is Brett Young, who's more of a passer. He was looking for Johnny Allen. You will see a lot of shuttling with the 2 quarterbacks. Young, the one in now, 6'1", 180-pound freshman from New Orleans, has over 1,000 yards passing for the season.
Brett Young, who leads the team in passing, coming in. Passed for over 1,000 yards, but His touchdown to interception ratio is something that he's got to improve on, Dwayne. He's got 3 touchdowns, and my records say 12 INTs. So we'll go with yours since they only say 11, but the bottom line is not doing too well in that ratio.
Frank Ziegler on to kick away. And this one will roll into the end zone. So Norfolk State bends but does not break defensively. South Carolina State leads 6-0. Norfolk State trails South Carolina State 6-0. You see Mo Forte now in his 3rd season, 6-17, 1969 graduate of Minnesota, 10-22 the record for Mo Forte. And Mark, his teams have had problems putting up points in the first half this season.
And he's a bit of an offensive guru. He and coordinator George Ragsdale cannot be pleased that their Spartan offensive unit has been outscored 185-62 in the first half this season. And they've got to jumpstart themselves right now because old man Mo certainly on the side of the Bulldogs right now.
David Johnson looking to throw on first down. Has a receiver. That's Charles Burnett. Anthony Gathers there defensively.
And Burnett is one of the more physical receivers. Nice little out pattern right there. Squares it off. Gives his quarterback, I should say, a nice target. And this is a strike. Not exactly a pretty strike, but a nice route and a good catch by Burnett.
15-yard pickup. Ball at the 35. This time they're on the ground and into the secondary with plenty of room to run. Preston Hines before Anthony Gathers finally caught up with him.
I tell you something. Jeremiah Birch and Jamel Smith open up a hole on the trap, and he just scoots through there, turns on the jets, gets to the outside, and picks up huge yardage. Nice job that time of running him down by Anthony Gathers, the defensive back, but not before a 41-yard pickup, and that's almost half of what he had totaled on all of his carries coming into this one.
Hines, a sophomore from Philadelphia, New York. On first down, markers go down, and Hines barrels his way over the left side and into Lester Davis.
Well, I tell you, the Norfolk State offensive front is beginning to get things cranked up right now. You know, they had a little help doing a nice job of shield blocking, where you step to the inside and shield the defender. But that time, they were illegal.
Our officiating crew today headed by that man Mike Pavese, Johnny Forte, Les Flora, Merrill Eason.
On the defense, holding on the offense, those penalties offset, replay first down.
Dwayne Burrell, Ron Taylor, Donnell Leathers complete the officiating crew for Willie Jeffries' final game.
That was just a play indicative of some kids that definitely got holiday spirit on their brain. Got holding on offense, got offsides on defense. Where your head's at?
Norfolk State down 6-0, trying to draw even. To the air, and Johnson's pass intended for the receiver was thrown well over his head.
Well, you know, he does a good job of looking off to his second, third, fourth option. Then he swung his head back around and found Anthony Dillard, a senior from Martinsville, VA, but he overthrew him. I like the fact that he went 1, 2, 3 options. He made the right read, just didn't have enough touch. That's one of the things you can teach a kid, and this guy has a world of potential.
2nd and 10 from the 24-yard line of South Carolina State. This time it's Hines, who is quickly met by Johnny Williams.
Boy, did he come in there like a howitzer and just tee off on the back going through there? Man, Johnny Williams doing an excellent job playing off the block and just ferociously attacking the ball carrier. And, you know, this place has had its share of linebackers. Does the name Harry Carson ring a bell, Dwayne?
May have heard his name somewhere along the road.
Well, I know you don't get out much, but he was a catalyst, a stalwart on the New York Giants defense for that first Super Bowl team.
3rd and 6 from the 20-yard line for Norfolk State, trailing 6-0. Johnson under pressure, gets it away, and there was contact. Howard Gilmore was the intended receiver, Escorting him was Gerald Burks. We'll see what the call is.
Burks bit on the end. It looked like it was supposed to be a post corner where you start with your pattern, breaking it towards the center of the field, towards the goalpost. And he jumped on it. And when he jumped on the post route, he made contact with the receiver, and it leads to a South Carolina State first down. See, watch right here. Look at the top of your screen. He goes to the post, and see the corner right there jumps on it before he has a chance to go back towards the corner, and you will get flagged for that.
On the defense, penalized 15 yards, previous spot, automatic first down.
Question, Coach Gray, was that a catchable ball?
No, it wasn't.
We just had the
exactly
exact same call in the other end zone. Not the exact same call, but the same scenario.
Yeah.
Different call.
It was inconsistent. Two guys saw the same type of play in two totally different ways. That was clearly an uncatchable pass. Norfolk's the beneficiary.
Spartans have it first and goal from the 5.
Smith that time going nowhere. Boy, Johnny Williams in there again on the stop. They try this little trap. They go with something off tackle. And boy, you talk about stepping up and turning that play back inside. Eric Washington does a good job forcing him back right into Johnny Williams. And there's Norfolk. The dilemma for the last 3 years, DB, has been their offensive inefficiency, especially inside the red zone.
Well, they have an opportunity to do something about that here. Johnson, don't know if there was confusion on the snap or he simply didn't grab it, but there was a problem. The ball was on the ground. He grabbed it, but it cost them a play.
Well, that's the kind of call that has the kind of play that has Coach George Ragsdale, former Black College All-American in North Carolina A&T and current offensive coordinator here. It's kind of stuff he's been pulling his hair out about for the last 3 years. Seemingly from 20 to 20, they are as efficient an offense as anybody in the conference, DB. However, inside the 20-yard lines, always seemingly a comedy of errors.
Sam Smith, Mark Gray, Dwayne Ballin with you from Orangeburg, South Carolina. Our final regular season telecast. Norfolk State trying to get on the board. The pass intended for Gilmore was off the mark. Defensively, Gathers was with him once again. This is Willie Jeffries' final game of his stellar career. And we are very happy to bring the MEAC television crew to Orangeburg, South Carolina for this game. I want to make note of something, folks. We know that you see the stands. We want you to know that the school is on break. And this is a game that was moved because of the things that happened on September 11th. So don't think for a minute that the folks didn't want to be here. It just so happens it falls at a time when the school is out of session. Field goal is good. So Norfolk State does get on the board, 3 instead of 6. And Mo Forte at least was able to break through a 29-yard kick.
Well, when you struggle the way Norfolk does, especially in the first half, you're happy in this situation to get out of it with at least 3 points. And these two teams have been so close to each other over the last 3 years. With South Carolina State missing their extra point, and there you can see a significant contingent on the home side. That's the home side directly beneath us. You see a number of the Bulldog faithful. Heck, we were talking in the hotel or at dinner last night with a lady in the restaurant, the waitress, who was openly professing that it was a Bulldog kind of day.
And that was the first field goal, by the way, made this season by the Norfolk State Spartans. Gideon Tekola came in 0 for 6, and Terry Cornett came in 0 for 3. So that's a measure of progress, albeit the very last game.
Well, you know, sooner or later the car's going to start. Just keep turning the key. Sooner or later it'll start.
That was a 9-play drive, 68 yards. And now the Bulldogs will have the opportunity to add to their advantage. They still lead by 3. We are at Dawson Stadium, Bulldog Field in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Terry Cornett kicking off. And it's fielded. Nice return on the play. 35-yard return on the kick.
Well, this is good blocking up front and a good job of just picking the hole, remaining disciplined, staying in your lane, and Larry Grant, the freshman, who has had a significant impact on the program with another fine return.
So on first down and 10 from the 41, the Bulldogs, with Eric Washington powering his way over the right side before Jacques Philistine stops him, is near a first down. Will bring up second and relatively short.
Kid Philistine could definitely make the all-name team in the conference, can he? That's a great name. Eric Washington showing when you play both sides of the football what your helmet will look like in game number 11 of the season. That's a torn and worn and tattered. You know, look at that helmet. That's a guy earning his scholarship.
Washington from Plant City, Florida, 413 yards rushing coming into the game.
And now, what else is famous from Plant City, Florida? You're a sports guy. You're supposed to know these things. Did I catch you out there? That's where Cincinnati Reds have spring training.
Thank you, Mark, for that.
See? I thought you knew these things.
But see, now our producer Rick Walenick says it's Sarasota. So
no, it's Plant City.
Here we go. See, that's why I didn't answer.
Oh, trust me. I know people that played for the Reds.
The correct answer will come up later in the game.
And if you know the answer, we have a lovely parting gift from the Broyhill collection.
Second and 1 from the 49. Sam Smith, Mark Gray, Dwayne Ballard here.
Well, if you're lucky, we'll bring you a fur from Zinman and Zinman of Rahway, New Jersey.
Our MEAC game of the week. South Carolina State leads 6-3. Willie Jeffries' final game. 1:12 to go in the fourth quarter. Bulldogs driving. Reese McCampbell at quarterback. Keeps it, trying to get the first down.
Boy, the big nasties up front are playing with a lot of enthusiasm and spirit, and they're just controlling things at the point of attack. I mean, you look at this big physical offensive front, and people always talk about Willie Jeffries as the head coach. He also coaches the offensive line. So you know he's been in the head of these big nasties up front all week long, and they're playing extremely well to start this one.
On first down, there is a fumble. And South Carolina State regains possession, but at a considerable loss.
Maxwell, Johnny on the spot that time to fall on that ball. But I'm going to tell you something. Eric Washington went into the line right here. He's going to take a shot, bang, and watch that ball just come loose at the last minute, and it falls on the turf. And then we have a mad scramble. Number of folks had the opportunity. I really thought that the person had the best chance to get it was the Cornell Pearson, but and Norfolk and Rashard Jenkins, but South Carolina State with a long way to go.
Second and 17, it's Maxwell. Not much over the left side. Vaughn McAfee, who has been all over the field in this first quarter. Norfolk State trying to hold on and keep South Carolina State from adding to its advantage. State leads Norfolk State 6-3. You see the floral arrangement. Willie Jeffries, his final game. I had the honor to chat with him before the game, and this man is quite the raconteur, full of wonderful, wonderful anecdotes.
Charlie was an all-pro receiver here, and he came back to Johns Island, the little island that where he graduated from St. John's High School, and he was making a little talk to the kids. He was reading a book, but he was doing a lot from memory, and he said, "One of the birds are flying." And the English teacher didn't get on him till after it was over. She said, "Charlie, I respectfully say to you, one of the birds is flying," one being the subject. And Charlie, being very kind to the teacher, he said, "I is a millionaire sounds better than I am broke."
Speaking of Charlie Taylor, the all-pro receiver with Washington, Charlie Brown, and of course played for Coach Jeffries.
What'd you call him, a rock star? What do you call him, a rocket scientist?
We'll have much more of that engaging interview coming up at the half. Lots of stories. He talks about his legacy and what he hopes people will remember about him.
But I'm far more engaged about, what'd you call him, a raconteur?
There are markers down on the field. 3rd and 14 for South Carolina State.
You're going to tell me what that means.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty. It's still 3rd down.
So South Carolina State opens up the second quarter with a penalty, leading 6-3. Raconteur was the word, Mark.
Is that anything like a rocket scientist? A rock and roll musician?
Ball at the 39-yard line for South Carolina State. In at quarterback now is Brett Young, primarily a passer. Out of shotgun, under pressure. He gets away from one tackler and decides to run before he's hogtied by Mike Kelly.
Boy, that Mike Kelly just tracked him down and was like, "You're not getting away from me, young fella." Brett Young showing some mobility. No more as a passer. But the corner blitz from the outside disrupted his continuity, so he has to tuck it up under and pick up good yardage. But the blitz coming from the outside really disrupted that play.
Ziegler punting away to Chad Smith, who is backed up into the end zone and will try to run it out. Not a good decision. Loses the ball. That's a fumble. There are markers down. This should be interesting.
Well, it's either a fumble and goal to go or a safety, 2 points in the ball for South Carolina State. Chad Smith he lost it.
It appeared as though he may have actually been tried to throw it out as though he didn't have possession.
Right. Well, if he does that, then it's South Carolina State's ball.
Mike Pavese will get everything cleared up and inform us of what we just watched.
Well, this ranks right up there with the classics that we've seen of the bonehead variety this year, Dwayne. Such phenomenal plays muffed as the muffed punt in Philadelphia.
An illegal forward pass against the receiving team while the player was in the end zone. The result of the play is a safety.
He threw the ball out of the end zone trying to prevent a safety, but that's a dangerous thing to do. Much less, it's not wise, but it's very dangerous also.
Well, at this point, Smith has just got to dive and try to get out of the end zone instead of trying to make something super big happen. Instead, South Carolina State goes up 8-3 now.
Fact is, he never should have tried to catch that ball.
No, he shouldn't have.
Well, he was into the end zone. Never should have tried to return it.
Not a very cerebral decision that time by Chad Smith. A really exciting return specialist. Although he is diminutive in stature, he's a big play kind of guy. Tried to make something big when something wasn't there.
And let's note that Frank Ziegler kicked that 51 yards. Great punt. So Mo Forte is not happy. On the other side of the field, Willie Jeffries will certainly take an extra 2 points. Puts his Bulldogs up 8-3, and you know the rule on safety. That means a team scored upon will have to kick away. So now it's an opportunity with Terry Cornett set to kick it away. An opportunity for South Carolina State to regain possession and possibly drive down for more. Larry Grant going down at just about midfield. Jeremiah Birch on the tackle.
Boy, I tell you, for this to be a game that's the swan song for Coach Jeffries, and really a tough game for Norfolk considering you have to travel and it's a holiday weekend. Well, there's some big-time sticking going on down here today.
Grant averages 25.6 yards per return.
So let's see if South Carolina State, who has struggled this season at season command in opportunities like this, with Reese McCampbell back in at quarterback, let's see if they can jumpstart that offense one more time.
So now we look for more of a run with McCampbell. He runs the option. Ball at the 48-yard line. Campbell tucks it away, cannot get away from the defenders. Mike Kelly and Mike Washington.
Well, they rolled the coverages that time in two-deep variety to take away underneath stuff and patterns that were over the top, and a good job of pressure on the quarterback that time forced him to step up in there and be tracked down by Norfolk State. Hey, this Spartan defense, they're aggressive, they're active. Their front seven creates enough havoc so that their secondary is able to really play footloose and fancy free.
Loss of 3 on the play. Maxwell back close to the original line of scrimmage. Vaughn McAfee, that's sophomore linebacker from Temple Hills, was right there.
Well, I tell you, he's everywhere. And Maxwell from the nation's capital, so a meeting of a couple of homeboys, if you will. Temple Hills and D.C. is in close proximity to each other.
3rd and 12 for South Carolina State from its own 46-yard line, leading 8-3. McCampbell has a receiver. It's Johnny Allen, who gets over the 45-yard line.
Boy, that Wayne C. looked like he was in great position to make a big-time play, but he couldn't get there that time.
Allen, 22 receptions, 486 yards coming into this game, a 5'11 senior from LaGrange, Georgia. So Messer Ziegler comes back on, averaging 39.7 coming into this one, his longest of the season, 61. He just kicked a 51-yarder that Chad Smith booted and gave up a safety on. See what he does on this one. Nearly blocked. It was partially. Smith will field it at the 15 and returns it maybe 2 yards before he's stopped by Johnny Williams.
Boy, you admire his heart, but you just got to wonder about his sense sometimes.
Over Dawson Stadium, Bulldog Field. Norfolk State trails South Carolina State 8-3, 11:48 to go in the second quarter. That 33-yard punt returns 6 yards. Crowd here, everyone turning out to honor Willie Jeffries in his final game. Thanks, Coach Jeffries. Those are the sentiments of everyone involved in this telecast and everyone attending this game today. Ball at the 18-yard line for Norfolk State, trailing 8-3. David Johnson rolling left, looking long. It is nearly intercepted by Anthony Gathers.
Boy, Gathers does a good job in coverage, releases himself from a block, has the ball in his hands, and David Johnson is fortunate that he doesn't have another one up there under the category of interception. He's got ample time on the half roll. He comes out here. He's got great protection and just lost a dying quail in the general vicinity of Charles Burnett. But the only person that really had a chance to make that play was this young fella, Gathers.
2nd and 10 from the 18. David Johnson in at quarterback. Behind him is McKinney, who goes straight up the middle for maybe 2, where Bryant Gathers stopped him. Okay, time for some genealogy. Bryant Gathers, who made the stop, number 83, and number 6, Anthony Gathers at South Carolina State, are cousins.
Really?
Their uncle is Robert Gathers, who played at South Carolina State, played in the NFL, and Jumpy Gathers, who played at Wichita State and played in the NFL, both of whom played for Coach Jeffries, different schools. So now it's all in the Gathers family. On 3rd down, David Johnson under pressure, incomplete pass. So now you understand the Gathers situation now?
Yeah, there's a whole lot of them playing in the conference. And they've also played for Coach Jeffries. Coach Jeffries done well with the Gathers clan. And see, look at the pressure coming up the middle and from the outside. He's got to release it early into the secondary, which allows the cornerback, who does a good job just playing center field that time, Greg Brown, a freshman from Gainesville, Florida, 57 tackles. Boy, he was ever so close to INT number 4 on the season.
Terry Cornett back at his own 6-yard line, punting away to Leonard Goolsby. Nice kick. Goolsby gets away from one defender. Kyle Grove had him, but Goolsby remained on his feet to get down to the 45-yard line. That's where South Carolina State will take over. Bulldogs lead Norfolk State 8-3. Coach Jeffries, this is, of course, the final game of a great career, and he has engendered so much love from so many others in his profession. Some thoughts from Hampton's Joe Taylor.
Here's a guy who's done so much for the profession. So many lives are better because Willie Jeffries touched their lives. And we're not just talking about the guys that he sent to the pros. that, of course, have a great life. I'm talking about the young man that understood the value of education because of his leadership. I'm talking about the people, one way or another, heard this guy speak. And not just the wins that makes him a great guy, but, a true mentor.
Maxwell on the carry. Words of Joe Taylor. Those sentiments we have found to be echoed by almost everyone we spoke with. If we just say two words, Willie Jeffries, and it goes from there.
It's been the easiest question to get a classic response from all coaches all season long. The impact of Coach Jeffries. And you can see that the Bulldogs right now picking up the pace just a little bit. Maxwell hovering right about around that 3.5-yard average.
2nd and 7. Brett Young is intercepted. It's Leon Grove who has room up the sideline and actually goes out of bounds along with one of his teammates.
Boy,
Davey Smith.
Bad pass that time by Brent Young. I mean, he just lofts it out there. You're going to look at it coming right at you, and Groves is just hanging out there chilling, waiting. Break on the ball, got it. And now he's got a convoy, outruns a couple of linebackers. He's going to get an escort right there. I thought a one block right there would have sprung him. But I got to give big props to Dewani Flagler, the senior, for putting a shot on Karan Copeland. And watch the shot come up right here. It's going to force him into Groves, who's knocked out of bounds. You talk about lineage. There's some Grove lineage on the Norfolk sideline.
Leon and Kyle Grove both are defensive backs, brothers. That was a 45-yard return by Leon Grove. Ball now at the 21-yard line of South Carolina State. Norfolk State, an opportunity to close that gap, trailing 8-3, 9:36 to go in the second quarter of our Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Game of the Week, the final telecast of the regular season for our crew.
Well, here we go. Norfolk's got to seize command here. They were able to do that in the latter stages last year. I'm sure Forte would rather see it happen early this year.
Johnson just overthrew the receiver. He was looking for Jamock Somerville.
And Somerville had a step. Again, that post corner route, which is contingent upon timing more so than anything in terms of its effectiveness. Johnson just a little bit, maybe he's a little bit too pumped up right now. I get the feeling we saw that with Alan Suber earlier in the season. We've seen that with Timothy Frazier over at Hampton, and maybe Mo Forte's quarterback right now, understanding it's a big game. He's on TV. Might be just a little bit too pumped up right now.
3rd and 7 from the 21. Johnson rolling to his left, has room to run, decides to do so, gets out of bounds very near a first down.
Well, that's just a good decision getting outside of the pocket. He reminds me a lot of a young Quinn Gray down at Florida A&M, kind of a big kid. Nobody really talks about his mobility, but as you can see, once he got around that corner, he found his second gear, was able to sprint to the first down. So this Norfolk team relying on the defense to set the offensive up, now beginning to move with some fluidity, some effectiveness, a little bit more confidence right now. Good things happening for the green and gold.
I like that word, fluidity. 8-yard pickup, 1st and 10 from the 13. The bottom of that pile was Smith. Pickup of 4, maybe 5.
And you just get the feeling that this kid right here, the fresh prince of the MEAC, we'll call Will Smith, he's about a year away. Next year, he'll probably make that step up into the upper echelon, where guys like Maurice Hicks were and Ali Culpepper were this season. Smith finishing his career, however. I thought he had one more year.
2nd and 6 from the 9 for Norfolk State. Johnson on a short rollout. That was a nice catch by Smith. Reached out with one hand and grabbed it.
But again, a terrific catch by Smith. Just phenomenal. But if his quarterback gives him a better pass, he's able to turn upfield and score touchdown number 6. You see, he's out there. It's a half roll. This is a real safe pass, but he just forced it. And I'm not quite sure he got that hand up under there to haul it in.
Maybe a gift.
but the guys in the striped shirts say yes. So that's where we will go with it.
It's 3rd and 3. Ball at the 6-yard line for Norfolk State, which trails 3-8 here in Orangeburg. On the play action fake, it doesn't fool South Carolina State's Lester Davis. And there's a marker down.
I think Davis might get flagged for getting his hand up around the face mask of the quarterback, Johnson. He tried to get the hand down. Yep. Tough for South Carolina State, because this is your classic inadvertent face mask. Watch right here. He's out there, and he has him. His hand got right up around the face mask, the cage area. Tried to release it, but not before the officials caught him. Let's see if they'll give him the inadvertent or the personal foul variety. See, right out there, one-on-one. Big number 41 gets the meat cleaver up, that being Lester Davis, who's seen a lot more playing time here over the last month or so.
Davis, 6 feet, 230-pound junior from Ormond Beach, Florida. They've really been impressed with the way he's come on recently. That's why he's been involved in many more games. Mike Pavesi.
5 yards face mask penalty. Gets the defense. Penalized 5 yards from the previous spot. It's still 3rd down.
That's a good job of officiating right there, Dwayne, because the young fella clearly recognized when he made his lunge and he got his hand on the cage, he didn't try to use that to bring the ball carrier down. That's an outstanding job by Mike Pavesi's crew right there. You know, you often talk about the Zebras when they're making bad calls. That's an outstanding job, in my opinion, right there.
7:36 to go in the second quarter of our Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Game of the Week. South Carolina State and Norfolk State. The Bulldogs of South Carolina State lead at 8-3. The last game of that man's career, Willie Jeffries.
Bulldog fans, support these.
That's a first down for Norfolk State with the penalty. Jeffries not happy about the call. Jeffries told us earlier he knows that the players are going to be emotional today, but he hopes that it doesn't detract from what they need to do on the field. He still wants them to function in their respective capacities out on the field. So his Bulldogs defensively need to take a stand. Norfolk State, 1st and goal from the 3. Very little for Smith.
Well, I tell you, the nose guard right there in that situation, I got to believe that's big number 99, Irving Manning, a 6'2", 300-pound junior. Boy, he just does a good job of just holding everything up. Check that in. He also gets some help from 93 there, the senior Eric Williams. Big, massive defensive front, pardon me. You know, Manning and Williams combined, they're at about 575 pounds. They were high school teammates, and they do a good job that time.
Marlboro High School, which is a perennial power in the state of South Carolina. Very little for Preston Hines over the left side as this defensive unit begins to step up.
Boy, and coming off that corner that time for the Bulldogs, Adrian McLeod, who's listed as a defensive lineman, but in this set plays a bit on the outside linebacker position. He just shot in there off the corner to stop that play. Now, here we go. 3rd and goal at the 2-yard line. This has been the Achilles heel of Norfolk State for about the last 3 seasons. This is an emotional breaking point in this contest for both teams.
David Johnson wants to talk about it, calling a timeout. So Norfolk State, an opportunity to score its first touchdown of the afternoon, but first, a discussion. Dawson Stadium in Orangeburg, South Carolina, a couple of Bulldog fans.
That's the generations of Willie Jeffries fans right there. You start them young in these points, and they always end up on the right side.
3rd and goal for Norfolk State from the 2-yard line, trailing 8-3. Johnson looking to pass under pressure. No go. Defensively, Johnny Williams was over Glenn Thomas.
Boy, I tell you, that was also so close to being pass interference. Williams out there, just 37 is just on 22 like white on rice, and 22 is a little exercised. Preston Hines, that is, but to no avail. And now Norfolk once again Are they going to try the field goal? Well, with the inefficiency of their field goal kicking unit, this is a no-brainer for Mo Forte, pardon me. You got to go for it here.
Plus, right now, this is the last game of the season. You're also working on things for next year, and you need to work on your offensive unit. So it's 4th and goal for Norfolk State. David Johnson under pressure. There's a marker down. He throws it away.
Good pressure coming that time from Lester Davis, the junior linebacker. Now I see why he's been able to make his way into the lineup, but we do have some laundry on the turf. You can't ask for your defense to give your offense better position to work from.
Illegal shift on the offense. That penalty is declined. First down, South Carolina.
So the Bulldogs defensive unit holds, and now South Carolina State will get the ball back. Willie Jeffries is pretty happy with that group right now.
Woefully incompetent is and has been the Norfolk State offense inside the red zone for about 3 years. And the questions which have befuddled Mo Forte and staff continue. Why can't we punch it in from point-blank range? I mean, this has been an MO that has cost them numerous games, even to South Carolina State a couple of years ago, you know, in this building.
Reese McCampbell comes back out at quarterback. Total yardage well in South Carolina State's favor. Ball at the 2-yard line. Now, South Carolina State's offense must be smart. McCampbell is on number. Pickup of maybe 2 over the right side. Jamal Najee was there.
Well, they've got Flagler in there replacing Roderick Rogers, who's moved to the center spot. He went behind Marcus Jelks at 300 pounds and Flagler at 305. So it's pretty smart when you're near your goal line to go behind 600 pounds of mass.
Dewani Flagler, it's number 76. Over the left side again, behind Flagler, goes Maxwell. Marcus Gray on the stop.
And I'm going to tell you something. Marcus Gray is making a lot of tackles, and that's been his forte, if you will, this season. However, these big nasties getting after him at 300-some pounds, boy. It could be a long, long offseason if he has to continue to play off of blockers that are that big and come up and make tackles.
3rd and 3 from the 9.
And that Jamal Najee, once again, Dwayne.
Mr. Najee. 6'4", 260-pound junior, just everywhere.
Well, much like the famous musician, he's jazzing up this defensive unit and beating all on South Carolina State right now.
So Norfolk State's defensive unit holds, now forcing Frank Ziegler to kick out of his own end zone. And Chad Smith waiting at the 48-yard line of South Carolina State. Ziegler has delivered a couple of big punts already. Smith elects to return it and does not get far before Chachi Sullivan brings him down just below the 44-yard line. Norfolk State's ball when we return. Leads Norfolk State 8-3 late in the second quarter. Sam Smith is down on the Bulldogs sideline.
Dwayne and Mark, South Carolina State has come a long way under Willie Jeffries. Jeffries has done a remarkable job of bringing this young team along. It started at 1-5. They have now won 4 straight games. Their last 3 wins coming by a combined total of 8 points. Willie Jeffries has taught this team how to win. They're starting to win the close games. He's already said he's proud of the effort that this team has put together this year, particularly down the stretch. Back to you guys.
Opportunity for them to finish with a winning record for the first time since 1997.
Yeah, that's the last time that a Bulldog team won as many as 5 in a row, Dwayne. And, you know, the parallels of this team, his current team, and his former team, the Howard Bisons, were so similar. I remember at one stage in the season, both of them were hovering near the bottom. And at that point, it seemed like South Carolina State was able to collect themselves to send Coach Jeffries out with a bang. And the Bison stayed, well, they continued to struggle. So it's a remarkable coaching effort for Coach Jeffries in his final campaign.
That 6-yard run by William Smith sets up 2nd and 4. And Johnson to the air but cannot connect with his receiver, Jamock Somerville.
Boy, he had him going quickly to the out pattern did Somerville, and that was the first real strike that we've seen Johnson throw this afternoon. And when your quarterback has been high and outside or behind you, it's difficult for your receivers to handle passes that are right in the breadbasket, as those numbers 2 for 11 for 18 yards will attest to. Not a banner day.
Norfolk State's offense has stalled at a number of times in this first half. 3rd and 4 at the 40-yard line. Johnson again throwing, has a man open. That's Glenn Thomas, and that's a touchdown for Norfolk State.
Well, that time South Carolina State gets burned in a blitz. They're sending everybody, and the Spartans do a good job of picking it up, and they have one receiver out there against 2 defenders, and this is a beautifully lofted pass over the outstretched arms of 2 defenders. You know, with the blitz coming, they don't even touch the quarterback. Give the big nasties for Norfolk up front props for it. And that time, I believe it was Gathers who got beat for the 40-yard touchdown, and suddenly Norfolk has grabbed the lead.
Thomas, his 5th touchdown of the season. That's a team high. Now has 17 receptions, 269 yards for the 6'1", 170-pound freshman.
Prior to the snap, illegal substitution, 12 men on the defense. Penalized half the distance to the goal. Try.
So now it's Willie Jeffries' Bulldogs making the mental mistakes.
All right. Have you been working?
Well, that was clearly a blown coverage. And Terry Cornett will try to add the extra point.
It is good, and Norfolk State goes on top 10-8 over South Carolina State after trailing for the majority of the first half. Mo Forte's Spartans use the big play.
Well, great protection up front allows him to sit back there and just loft a strike over. That's Gathers number 6 right there, as well as number 23, Greg Brown, the freshman. And it's hauled in for the score. So Norfolk, who really hasn't been able to take advantage of golden scoring opportunities inside the red zone, finally make a play. They lead by 2 and could easily be up by, 10 or 12 points right now.
Our National Car Rental scoring drive, 3 plays, 46 yards, the 40-yard catch by Thomas. Spartans came into this game with a 5-5 overall record and 3-4 in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. So just like the Bulldogs, they too can post their first winning season since 1997.
And we talk about how, South Carolina State has turned the corner this season. It should be noted that things got extremely better for Norfolk State when they beat Hampton in the Battle of the Bay Classic. And that's where this team found out that Mo Forte, his stuff works. We listen to him, we may win.
The short kick by Terry Cornett was fielded by Leonard Alexander. Never got it to the deep men, the return men, and that was probably by design. Didn't want Grant or Brown with an opportunity to turn something big.
And they certainly have the talent to do just that. Skilled players, Anderson and Richard Brown are outstanding.
Reese McCampbell's numbers somewhat modest so far. He shares time with Brett Young at quarterback. It's Maxwell changing directions, where he runs into a couple of white jerseys.
Well, I got to tell you something right now, Dwayne. Norfolk State has done a good job. They're putting 8 guys in the box right now. They're like, okay, you've been running on us, and you ran on us effectively early with both the option and with the trap plays. We're going to force you to do something else. And Norfolk's doing a great job. Their rush defense is one of the best in the league, and they're playing up to that right now.
On 2nd and 7, McCampbell on the option, tucks it away, has the first down and more. He's tracked down by Vaughn McAfee.
Boy, nice job of freelancing outside the pocket by McCampbell, who clearly knows how to make plays when the play itself breaks down. And his improvisational skills are moving this Bulldog offense a lot more effective than the passing skills of Young right now.
The Bulldogs find themselves trailing by 2, 10-8 with 2:19 to go. It's Maxwell.
Boy, that time the hole was open, and just a great tackle that time. Once again, Jamal Najee continuing to play that tune on the Bulldog offense.
Second and 11, second and 7, 2:11 to go in our Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Game of the Week from Orangeburg, South Carolina. Sam Smith, Mark Gray, Dwayne Ballin, and our entire MEAC crew with you this afternoon. The Coca-Cola MEAC scoreboard today, the schedule. Later on today, Delaware State and North Carolina A&T to close out the season.
And you talk about a season that really went into the tank after the loss of Maurice Hicks. That certainly has been the case in Greensboro.
Some other scores from around the country. Pittsburgh and West Virginia deadlocked in the third. Wow, look at what's happening up in Ann Arbor.
Well, that just goes to prove that the sun does shine on a Buckeye at least once every 20 years.
Wisconsin and Minnesota tied in the third. Indiana over Purdue.
Greatest name for a rivalry. The battle for the Old Oaken Bucket.
The Old Oaken Bucket.
What is an Oaken Bucket?
It's probably oaken and probably looks like a bucket.
Is it something that you clean with or you stick your head in after a rough Saturday night?
Second and 7. You would know more about the latter. Ball at the 47-yard line for South Carolina State. Maxwell on a little delay, fighting his way for a first down. Nice piece of running. He's into the open field. Kabui Maxwell. Excellent run.
Boy. Look at this. Now he gets the trap and the hole opens up. But see, he stopped right here. He breaks a tackle. Najee, he just shakes him out of his shoes. He shakes McAfee right there, and he gets into the secondary, turns on the Jets, and he's off to the races. Kyle Grove down there to force him out of bounds. Check that. That's Leon Grove, but not after a huge gain for Willie Jeffries. Coach, smile. That was a good play.
46-yard pickup by Maxwell. Very little on this one, with Marcus Gray responding defensively quickly. That was such a great play. We will have plays like that at the half. Our plays of the year, some of the great plays we've seen on MEAC Games of the Week. And boy, the MEAC for a treat.
That's right. MEAC's greatest hits, 2001.
Narrated by my partner, Mark Gray. Second and 4 for South Carolina State, trying to regain the lead.
Well, I tell you, that surge at the point of attack is not there like it was a couple of plays ago. That interior of the Norfolk State defensive front, Philistine and Williams closed down, forcing that play to the outside. And, boy, the back's none the worse for wear that time. I mean, he took a shot, did Frank Williams.
Third and goal from the 3. South Carolina State trailing by 2. McCampbell rolling to his right, but there's a marker on the far side of the field. So this may all come back. Kyle Grove defensively on the play, but let's wait and see what Mike Pavesi tells us.
Did he close on McCampbell? Boy, I'm talking about, hey, that's just great stuff right there. And for offsides against the Norfolk defense. Boy, but I tell you, that takes nothing away from the closing speed that we saw from Kyle Grove. He had about 8 yards to make up in a space of 6 yards, and he beat the quarterback to the spot. Watch right here. McCampbell off the play action. He's going to roll to the far side. They had enough of a seal, I thought, for him to take it in there, and the big-time stick by Kyle Grove. Well, that's got to make all the Norfolk State alums on this crew very proud.
Offside, defense, penalized, half the distance to the goal, replay third down.
Well, that's a gift for South Carolina State. 48 seconds to go in the half for Willie Jeffries in his final game. His Bulldogs trailed 10-8, looking to regain the advantage. Third and goal from the 2. Reese McCampbell over center at quarterback. Full backfield. Massive humanity down near the goal line. We'll await the call from the officials.
Well, I think if we haven't seen touchdown by now, it's going to be short. Yeah, it's a 4th down.
Well, you clearly go for it, do you not?
Definitely. Why not? You've only got 30 minutes left in your season, your career, if you will.
South Carolina at their second charge timeout.
And you'd like to seize command because Norfolk State gets the ball coming out to start the 3rd quarter. So if you're Coach Jeffries, I think he's just going to line it up and go behind Rogers and Jelks and Aubrey.
Some notes about this offensive line that Coach Jeffries has assembled. They are missing all conference center Jermaine Hannon, who they lost him 4 weeks ago, and they lost a right tackle, Cordy Campbell, to a shoulder injury. So they put together this offensive line to try and make things work, and they've done an admirable job.
And when you lose a guy like Hannon, Hannon's an NFL prospect. I mean, that's a guy who's garnering a lot of attention from the Sunday afternoon scouts. So that was a big blow. So I'm telling you, sometimes, you know, when you can see the light at the end of the tunnel and it becomes more than just a flicker, it gets that much brighter. You reach down into things that made you great from days gone by, and the motivational skills of Willie Jeffries have really brought this team together, and a solid foundation is laid. The cupboard is certainly not bare for the next coach, and we'll talk about that saga as it plays out in the second half. When the next coach comes in here, he's going to have some stuff to work with.
4th and goal from the 2. Bulldogs trail by 2. McCampbell calls his own number. That's a touchdown.
Boy, I tell you, just line it up, go behind your center, Rogers, and then find Marcus Jelks and make your way to the end zone. And South Carolina State with a good job of answering. And I'm sure they're going to go for the 2-point conversion here. Well, I guess not. I would have thought instead of going up. See, look at the surge. The center with a nice push right there, right up the gut. You got Jelks that time with a nice surge. You also got Dewani Flagler. See, 76 with a great push, and that's the hole that the quarterback finds as he goes into the house.
Guy DePaulo on for the extra point. Fake. Reverse.
Marcus Gray stepping up with the biggest hit we've seen of the year.
Jermaine Brown thought he was going to tally 2 more.
And Marcus Gray told him, son, I do not think so. Wow. I hope we got the audio of that shot. Man. Watch the quarterback with the pitch, and coming around the corner, South Carolina State has everything set up for Jermaine Brown until he runs into Marcus Gray, who sets him up, and then his clock is then finally cleaned right there by Karan Copeland. Boy, I tell you, you like physical, hard-nosed safeties, defensive backs, you just gotta like that.
Well, speaking as an old defensive back, I'm sure you really appreciate that.
I had a charge.
So South Carolina State regains the lead, 14-10 here in Orangeburg. 13 seconds to go in the second quarter. Did not get the 2-point conversion. Great defensive stop.
It's a good game. You know, you come into a game that's really almost anticlimactic except for emotional reasons, and you wonder how these guys are going to play. And it's been pretty spirited.
Frank Ziegler kicks it on the ground. And the return by Marquicon McKinney goes a couple of yards. Johnny Williams there on the stop. So Norfolk State gets the ball with 8 seconds to go in the half, trailing by 4. Our National Car Rental scoring drive, 8 plays, 74 yards, and McCampbell's 1-yard run over the right side behind the 2 big guys.
Yeah, I tell you, he got great surge at the point of attack and was able to find his way into the house. And it would appear that Mo Forte and the Spartans are content to go in down by 4 at the half and discuss some things. They've had some successes. If they were a little bit more efficient inside the red zone, we will be singing an entirely different tune at the end of the first stanza, if you will, but as it stands, we got ourselves set up for another classic Norfolk, South Carolina State finish.
Mo Forte Spartans trail 14-10. South Carolina State opened up scoring on the first drive and had to regain the lead. Let's check in with Sam, with the coach of the day.
Coach Jeffries, an exciting first half. You guys have thrown the kitchen sink at Norfolk State.
Well, they're real tough. We're not doing well offensively. We've got to move their line back a little bit so we can run some of our plays. But they've got a very tough defensive football team.
What adjustments do you make in the second half?
Well, we've got to play like we're playing versus their run on our defense. We had a slip on the long pass when their touchdown. Our guy slipped down in that wet spot, but you've got to keep from slipping. We've got to put something together offense. We've got to get outside and throw some passes. Our quarterback made a mistake, didn't see the free safety hiding in there a minute ago, so we've just got to move the ball offensively.
Coach Willie Jeffries leads 14-10 at the half. Dwayne and Mark, South Carolina State, looking good so far.
Their opportunity, Sam, is to close out the career of that man on a winning note with a winning record. We will talk at length with Willie Jeffries when we come back. Stay with us. Leads Norfolk State 14-10 halftime in Orangeburg, South Carolina, our Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference football game of the week. This is the game that honors Willie Jeffries, and that is his wife, Mrs. Mary Jeffries. She's probably very pleased with the way things are going at the moment. Her husband has been coaching for 29 seasons. How do you think he's handled this day so far?
Well, if you know Willie Jeffries and you look at that cool, calm exterior, you know that he's bubbling on the inside. You can tell just a little bit that there's a little bit of emotion there, and I think he's a beneficiary of a close, tough game. His team is well prepared. They're playing extremely well, and they're facing a foe who's coming in here that's really ready to spoil this day.
I had the honor to speak with him prior to today's game, and we started by chatting about the fact that he's been doing this as long as he has, and did he ever think it would go this long?
When I said I was going to coach as long as I can coach, as long as I can remain vertical, I'm going to be a football coach. Of course, that depends on your record. And I started out here in September of 1973, my first year. I enjoyed it so much, the interaction with the players, coaching the whole player academically and athletically and socially, of course. I said that this is my niche in life. That was the most significant moment, the time we won our first MEAC championship. 1974, in November, we were playing Delaware State. We had to win the game. And I lament the fact that in 1973 we missed it by a half game because of a tie with North Carolina A&T. We wanted a conference championship here. We had never won one since the advent of the MEAC conference. We won it 16-7 at Delaware State, our first MEAC championship at South Carolina State. That was my greatest moment. I only had one white player who told me that he could not play under a black head coach. He told me that in his living room in Philadelphia.
What did you say?
I had to break the ice. I said, I'm happy I found it out before 4th and 1. So everyone laughed. We ate our cookies and had an amicable meeting, but I could appreciate his honesty. Well, one of my big tackles was copying off of a guy. And they called a coach for everything. I was upset, and I asked the professor, can you prove he was copying? Oh, yes, coach, I can prove it. One of those high-class professors. Your big tackle there was sitting alongside the smartest guy in the class. And the reason I know he was copying, the smart guy wrote for number 10, I don't know, and your player wrote, I don't either. So then the jig was up. I knew he was copying, and all I could do was say what Coach Eddie Robinson used to say when they would catch one of his boys copying in class, give him credit for trying. I hope that I can be remembered as a player's coach, a coach who was concerned about his players totally, academically, socially, and athletically, and a guy who won a few games on the way.
The college football community is immeasurably enriched for that man's presence over the last nearly 30 years. More from Dawson Stadium in Orangeburg when we return.
Eagerly awaited, award-winning 2001 edition of the MEAC Greatest Hits. And we start at Hampton University on the lovely shores of the Chesapeake Bay, where Isaac Brown shows how to rap. That's run after the catch. And the Hampton University defense, well, they show how not to tackle Isaac Brown. The beginning of a banner day for the Rattlers in Hampton. This is Damian Phillips finding Marcus Bryson with the one-handed off the easy for cheesy. Two-point conversion. It was the start of something big in Greensboro. And speaking of something big, Quinn Gray off the deflection, which lands into the hands of Hampton's Vincent Lewis, who goes down the sidelines. He's going to outrun a running back and take it to the house. Something to smile about for the Pirates on a tough afternoon. Speaking of tough, that's Alan Suber, the best quarterback in 1AA. He's so bad, he's so nasty, it's almost illegal. This is Tim Frazier, looking deep, going for his receiver, but he finds a defensive back. That's Troy Hart from Florida A&M, who goes from 0 to 50 in about a millisecond, still has enough for a freaky move as he takes it to the house as well. This is Damian Phillips showing the fake, cutting up the middle, breaking a tackle, and scoring the game-winning touchdown on homecoming day in Greensboro. And then this is Tim Frazier to Atavius Cash to Zuriel Smith. In baseball, we'd call it 1-6-3. In Daytona Beach, it was a touchdown. And this is Jasper Owens playing center field with the radar up. He locks in. He too shows blazing speed, 0 to 50 in a millisecond. A couple of nice moves, and he goes all the way into the end zone for the score. But it wasn't enough. Bethune-Cookman rolled that day. And this is how Taji Parrish, reserve, playing behind Alan Suber, finds Eric Lash, who ran into trouble, ran away from trouble, and took it to the house. Eric Lash, a bad man on a good day for the Wildcats. And those are your greatest hits from the 2001 edition of the MEAC Game of the Week.
Quite a season it was, and the CD from Mark Gray will be coming out at a
so Stuart Scott's record
will
label
be determined later.
Yeah, we'll be pushing that on the MEAC website a whole lot real soon. But we had some exciting moments here, man, and that just really began to scratch the surface. What a fitting conclusion to a great season.
Well, the Bulldogs of South Carolina State, clad in blue, lead at the half in Willie Jeffries' final game. Second half coming up.
Welcome back to Orangeburg, South Carolina. 14-10 is the score. South Carolina State leads Norfolk State at the half. As we take a look at the Xerox halftime stats, as you can see, South Carolina State almost doubling the amount of yardage on the ground that Norfolk State has. Passing yards, the Bulldogs lead there as well. There is an 80-yard advantage in terms of total yardage. And Dwayne, look at the time of possession. South Carolina State almost 7 full minutes ahead of what Norfolk State has, yet were it not for a late touchdown, Norfolk State would have the lead.
And here we are, the opening kickoff of the second half. Johnny Williams making the stop of Richard Brown for Norfolk State, who returns it down to the 35-yard line of Norfolk State. Spartans will take over there, trailing 14-10 to begin the second half.
I'm anxious to watch the emotion of South Carolina State and Coach Jeffries' last 30 minutes at the helm. I think that will be a big factor as this game plays on.
David Johnson on first down goes to William Smith, right up the middle where he's met by Eric Williams.
Boy, I tell you, Williams does a fine job playing off of his block to make that play, and he's laboring because he took a shot from the offensive front. I think it might have been Jamel Smith who caught him, but he bounced off the block and he made the tackle.
6'2", 275-pound senior came into this game with 4 sacks. He and the Bulldogs defensive unit dig in on 2nd and 8. Johnson rolling out. Decides to run. Dives near a first down. Lester Davis tripped him, but he lunged after the trip.
And that's because Irvin Manning, the nose guard, who was trying to go out there in containment, just frankly got his clock cleaned. I mean, big number 99 just got pancaked to the turf, and that opened the corner for Johnson to get around there and bring up a 3rd and short situation. And it takes a lot to pancake a guy who stands 6'2", 300 pounds, who's probably made a name for himself around campus, hitting the pancake line at breakfast.
Under pressure, Johnson just gets it away as the Bulldogs were blitzing. Brandon Houston defensively on the play.
Boy, coming right up the gut. They filled too many people, and the pressure. Boy, and there was a hole right there, too. That wasn't flagged. I think Derek Harrison, who had come through clean on that blitz from his linebacker position, got kind of hog-tied down. But a good defensive series for the Bulldogs to start, coming out here after the intermission.
Terry Cornett to kick away to Carlos Hurd. Hurd will leave this one alone. And actually, that ball could very well have been down at the 1, could it not?
Wow. Kyle Grove had a vapor lock on the brain, and he didn't think to touch the football.
Wow.
Terry Cornett is going to come back and probably give him the same treatment that he gave himself. Oh, what are you thinking about, young fella?
For Norfolk State.
Well, sometimes the vapor lock and just clamps down on your brain and you don't think. And that's just Kyle Grove having a vapor lock. And see, how do you unlock the vapor? Well, you keep banging on your head and saying, hopefully it'll unlock.
That allows South Carolina State to begin its drive at the 20-yard line as opposed to the 1. 1st and 10, Reese McCampbell in at quarterback. Maxwell. Marcus Gray on the stop as he fights over the 25-yard line.
And that, too, is Gray with an A. He's doing the name proud. Coach Jeffries told Sam Smith going in at the half, he wanted to get to the outside. So I guess you're going to see a lot more options, which is why we probably see McCampbell in at the quarterback position. You're going to see a lot more sweeps, and they're going off tackle now to the left and the right-hand sides.
On 2nd and 5, it's Maxwell again. He runs head into Cornell Pearson.
And Pearson's got to be, you see that indented area right there? That's his jersey number. Around the 30-yard line. I mean, Pearson just got drilled by a back hitting the hole at full speed. I mean, I just love Maxwell because he plays physical. I mean, reminiscent of like an Ali Culpepper at Morgan or Maurice Hicks at North Carolina A&T. This guy makes defenders pay for coming up and putting a helmet on.
Picked up a 1st down on the play. He gets the call again. This time, he loses his footing in the backfield. And there's a defender there to make sure he doesn't move any further. That's Raphael Butts.
Well, at the end of the season, it's worn between the hash marks on most football fields. I don't care what level you're playing at. And it's real loose turf in between the hashes, as you can see right there behind Maxwell. That's just a little bit of missing sod that's filled with sand and covered with light green paint. And the footing is, well, treacherous to say the least.
2nd and 11. Play action was not fooling Norfolk State. Kyron Copeland, first man to the quarterback.
And Copeland was helped that time by great pressure coming off the corner. Watch number 78, Brent Sanders, play off his block, turn him back inside so Copeland can finish the deal. So good pressure from the outside, forcing it back to the linebacker. And that's sack number 4 this season for that talented young fella.
6'2", 185-pound junior from Richmond, Virginia. Sets up 3rd and 19 at the 23-yard line for South Carolina State. Leading 14-10 early in the 3rd quarter. McCampbell elects to run and does not get back to the original line of scrimmage. Mike Washington, one of the Spartans, there to drag him down.
Yeah, but give Sanders credit for thwarting the effort of a drive that seemingly had a lot of potential with that sack, which forced them into a 3rd and long situation, which dictated pass, and they were able to shut down the Bulldogs. So the defense is, as testament to the where these two programs are at this point in the season. Stepping up, playing big. Sorry.
Frank Ziegler kicking away to Chad Smith. Smith has shown no desire to call a fair catch at all. There are markers down. There may have been a face mask there also.
You know what's going to happen is I think they're going to drop a flag and they're going to say that 2-yard crown that you have to give a person receiving the punt was violated. I thought that was a heads-up play getting down in punt coverage that time for the Bulldogs from Gerald Burks, a reserve defensive back out of Columbus, Georgia. But I think the officials thought, well, you violated his space.
Mike Pavisi.
Interference against the kicking team. Violation of the 2-yard belt. Penalty will be enforced 5 yards from the spot of the foul. First down, Norfolk State.
And see, he tried to hold up there. He knew that he was in a danger zone. He tried to back up off it. The official dropped the flag.
Willie Jeffries, his final game. What a career. He's coached against Eddie Robinson and Bear Bryant, two of the legends, along with Coach Jeffries in college football. Most victories of any coach in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. 1st and 10 for Norfolk State at the 33-yard line. Spartans trail the Bulldogs 14-10. There's movement along the interior line, and there are the markers. That punt that led to this series was 46 yards by Frank Ziegler, who's had quite an afternoon punting the ball.
Boy, he or Tellis Bolden.
Offside on the defense. Penalized 5 yards. It's still first down.
South Carolina State, mental miscues. 10:25 to go in the third quarter here in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Our MEAC game of the week. We are honoring Willie Jeffries in his final game. Norfolk State with the ball. And Eric Williams decides there will be no forward progress, along with Ken Jones.
Yep, Will Smith running in and running into the center of the line and finding that there's absolutely no place to go. Now, I think that, you know, despite the problems that David Johnson is having throwing the football this afternoon, you still have to throw on first down. South Carolina State traditionally a tremendous team defensively against the run. They had some big plays. There were some breakdowns earlier, which allowed Norfolk State to run the football. I think South Carolina State has made the adjustments. Now you're going to have to get more creative with your offensive play calling.
2nd and 5. Johnson overthrows his receiver and nearly into the hands of Anthony Gathers.
A horrendous pass that time. I mean, there's just, you can't sugarcoat that. I mean, that's just a bad pass. Good route by the receiver. He squares it off and gives him a good target, and that's just a high throw. It looked like it's almost like a baseball pitcher whose release point is off. Sometimes if a pitcher is releasing the pitch early, it goes high into the outside, or he won't get the break or the rotation on the curveball. Something is off with the release point of Johnson. I don't know if it's a wrist or a shoulder or what have you, but his mechanics are all off.
3rd down. Ball at the 38-yard line for Norfolk State. Johnson decides to run. Has the first down. Derek Harrison on the stop.
But the kid's athletic. You got to like it. I mean, he's a very athletic guy. Watch him. Little half roll action, trying to set up and find something. Step up in the pocket, recognizing early on nobody's downfield. He's got some open area and just hauls it in and picks up the first down.
Moves the ball to the 46-yard line for the Spartans, who trail by 4. Smith. Great defensive play by Tavares Chandler.
You can't say that enough, because he was locked at the line of scrimmage on a block. It was a fullback lead, and he plays right off the block. And Marky Coyne McKinney. Now watch the blocking right here. You're going to have a little bit of pull action, the block down here. And they just push him running right outside. He turns up in there. But what you don't see is a great play off the block and a serious tackle.
Smith, 9 rushes for 26 yards so far in the game. 2nd and 9. Play action. Johnson has a receiver open, and that's a first down. Glenn Thomas, who caught the 40-yard touchdown pass earlier in the game.
And these are safe, square in routes that give the quarterback an ample target. But I'm going to tell you something. Will Smith, who leads the team in rushing, threw a big-time block to give Mr. Johnson a little bit more time to sit in that pocket and deliver a strike.
12-yard pickup. Now moves Norfolk State into South Carolina State territory. And it's Smith going nowhere. Leading the charge for South Carolina State, Eugene Williams.
Well, I tell you, you just look at the effort of South Carolina State right now. They're spirited, there's intensity. I mean, you would think that there is a championship on the line right here.
Johnson, 4 of 15 so far, 70 yards passing in the game. Both of these teams out of it. The championship decided last week. Florida A&M, the 2001 champions. 2nd and 11 from the 42. Johnson again looking to go to the air. Under pressure, has to run. Derek Harrison makes sure that he stays down once he goes down.
Yeah, that was one of the more exciting 2-yard runs that you'll see. He came out of the side, looked like there was a potential for greatness, and things changed dramatically when he saw linebackers bearing down on him. We might as well take this opportunity to publicly congratulate Florida A&M head coach Billy Joe, offensive coordinator Jimmy Joe, and of course his defensive coordinator Clifton Moore. We will be with them next week, their first round NCAA 1AA playoff matchup.
Flags down, movement along the interior line. Florida A&M, big victory over Bethune-Cookman last weekend, coupled with South Carolina State's victory over A&T here on this field, gave the Rattlers their 2nd consecutive MEAC championship.
And it should be noted, Dwayne, that we're looking at a remaking of that FAMU offense. Let's take a look at him. Little lunge by the center in the middle right there. Jeremiah Birch moved a little early. Let's see if the officials see it the way that I did.
And that's the really important thing.
Of course.
They see it the way you did.
You know, see, it took you long enough to finally come around, bro. I mean, we couldn't get you to carry the bags, but you finally get it.
Mark's view.
Offside on a defense. Penalized 5 yards. It's still 3rd down.
And you see Coach Jeffries is saying, now, wait a minute. The center, Jeremiah Birch, moved first. Are you not seeing the same game that me and Mark Gray are seeing?
Did you know this is my last game?
Did you know I'm at home?
3rd and 5 for the Spartans, who trail 14-10. 6:32 to go in the 3rd quarter. Our MEAC game of the week from Orangeburg, South Carolina. David Johnson looking to throw. Has a receiver along the far sideline, but that one held up. And defensively, Gerald Burks was there to break it up from Charles Burnett.
Boy, there was some fisticuffs going on around the line of scrimmage. And it looks like, well, let's go back to the replay right here. And again, this is another one of those dreadful passes, a dying quail. They try that post corner route, and a poor throw once again by Johnson allows the defender to break on the football. Gerald Burks does a good job deflecting that pass, but he was helped out greatly by the fact that it was a poor throw.
So Terry Cornett back at midfield to kick away to Leonard Gouldsby. A great punt by Cornett. Stops on a dime.
That's like you laying up for the green, right?
One should only hope. Let's see if the defensive unit can birdie from there.
Almost overnight, the University of Maryland has arrived. And now that we're here, we're getting out there in big ways. Today, we're the team leader on a $279 million NASA mission to study the heart of a comet. We just opened a dazzling new performing arts center that can stand toe-to-toe with any in the country. 3 more Pulitzer Prize-winning writers have joined our journalism school. The grade point average of incoming freshmen has grown from 3.0 to 3.76. Maryland women have won their record 7th straight NCAA lacrosse title. In 10 years, we've gone from having one academic program ranked in the top 25 to having 61. And then there's the football thing, which makes all of us wonder, what's next month going to be like?
Get ready for tennis made in America at the Baltimore Arena on December 12th. The fireworks fly when Andre Agassi and Andy Roddick duel in a star-spangled tennis matchup in the Chevy Chase Bank Tennis Challenge, presented by the Baltimore Sun. This evening of tennis greats also includes the Salomon Smith-Barney Legends and the Orioles Challenge. Proceeds benefit children's charities through the Baltimore Community Foundation. Visit tennischallenge.org or call Ticketmaster at 410-481-SEAT to order your tickets today.
Welcome back to Orangeburg, South Carolina. Sam Smith, Mark Gray, Dwayne Ballin here. South Carolina State leads Norfolk State 14-10 in our MEAC Game of the Week. Reese McCampbell and the Bulldog offensive unit set to start at the 3-yard line after a great punt by Terry Cornett. Bulldogs electing to keep it on the ground with Eric Washington, but Brent Sanders and company on the other side of the ball decide they want to stop it.
Yeah, but I got to tell you something. There's great surge at the point of attack from the center. Roderick Rogers, 6'1", 300-pound sophomore, number 74. Just watch him. He's doing a great job at the point of attack. Just opening up gaping holes right now.
2nd and 6, it's Washington, who is just tracked down in the backfield by Jacques Philistine.
Great name. Best name of the year.
He would be a Warrior, wouldn't he?
He would. And just ask South Carolina State's offensive backfield that very question. I'm a little shocked that they tried to go outside here inside their own 10-yard line when they were looking to get some space, especially since the center is seeming to impose his will on that entire offensive unit right now, the offensive front. Now a passing situation for McCampbell, who's much more effective when the down and distance does not dictate pass.
3rd down conversions nearly identical. McCampbell rolling out, has a receiver and a 1st down. That's Terrence Metcalf.
Oh, I like that. You talk about going into the bag of tricks. Coach Willie Jeffries with the moving pocket, which allows his quarterback to make his way to the same side of the field as his receiver, and that reduced the amount of potential for trouble. And a great catch there by Metcalf. Big kid, nice size, good speed, comes from good stock.
6'4", 200-pound senior. He's their long ball man. When they go deep, he's the one they usually look to. Pickup of 16, 1st and 10 at the 21. Maxwell fell behind his blocker and goes down. Jacques Philistine defensively.
Love that name, man. You know me, I'm a name guy. I mean, he definitely makes the all-name team. Kind of like with Sequan Dow of Florida A&M, Darul Diab of Hampton. They say, what's in the name?
Yeah, for a guy named Mark, it's interesting that you're really into names.
I know, because mine is so average and basic. Nice biblical young name.
2nd and 8. Ball at the 23, and it's Maxwell up the middle.
And you notice they're having a lot of success when they go up the middle, because number 74 is just absolutely moving anything in his path.
You know, 74 and 63 are Rodriguez and Roderick Rogers. They are twins from Montgomery, Alabama, 6'1", 300 pounds plus, both the criminal justice majors. Now, number 74, Roderick, he's more outgoing, while number 63, Roderick, is more reserved. 3rd down. Eric Washington over the left side has a 1st down as he gets into the secondary, where he's met by Cornell Pearson.
Boy, little trap action off tackle with the sweep, and you get some people pulling. There's a big hole, and it leads to another 1st down. Boy, that offensive line just moving folks right now. We got to talk about those Rogers boys. The twins, 300 pounds?
We'll get the opportunity. 1st and 10, ball at the 35-yard line for South Carolina State, which leads 14-10. Frankie Williams. Sam Smith has a very special guest.
Dwayne, if you think this is nerve-wracking, the final moments in Willie Jeffries' career, try being his wife, Mary Jeffries. She joins us now. Mary, these final moments in your husband's coaching career, what's going through your mind?
Well, this week's been a very emotional week for both of us. His last Monday morning practice, his last practice yesterday, and today his last game.
Now, you two have been married for over 40 years,
yes.
So I would think that now, finally, Saturday afternoons in the fall, you two can go shopping.
No, we would probably be at a football game or either watching a game.
What will you miss about Saturday afternoons watching your husband on the sideline?
The fans, friends, and also the players and the school. I guess the morale of the people in the stand, band.
Well, you heard it from Mary Jeffries. You can take football away from Willie Jeffries on Saturday afternoons, but she's not going to be able to keep him away from football forever, guys. Back to you.
Sam, that is the lady behind the man. Campbell in trouble, trying to get away and doing a good job of it before he's stopped by Cal Grove. It's interesting what Mrs. Jeffries just said when Sam asked her about, well, are you going to go shopping, go to the mall?
She's like, no, we're going to be at somebody's football game. That's great. This is Reese McCampbell giving you a watered-down impression of Alan Suber. That was a nice little move right there to pick up a couple extra yards.
Frank Ziegler on to punt it away. What a game he's having so far. Shad Smith waiting at the other end. Once again, he's backed up by a Ziegler punt. And Dontrell Leonard is there on the tackle. It's Tavares Chandler. Tavares Chandler makes the tackle. So Norfolk State will take over possession at that point and try to mount a drive. There's a marker on the field near the ball, and some of the South Carolina State players are indicating it's against Norfolk State. Here's Mike Pavisi to tell us what's what.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct on the receiving team. Penalty will be enforced 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
So Norfolk State, unsportsmanlike conduct, pushes them back, but it'll be their ball when we return.
It is more than a trial by fire. It is a rite of passage. And if you can master your fear, outsmart your enemy, and never yield even to yourself, you will be changed forever. The few, the proud, the Marines.
As a National Car Rental Emerald Club member, you can bypass the counter, which saves time. Take the car of your choice, which saves time. And now when Emerald Club members return their car, National will fill it up at self-serve prices, which saves money and time. You see, if we can give you back even 43 minutes, then we've done our job. 43 minutes. How will you spend it? The Emerald Club from National.
You can go your own way. Go your own way.
I told my father I wanted to grow up to be a teacher. Wouldn't you rather be a doctor? He said. It's a noble profession and you could become wealthy. That may be true, I said. But without teachers, where would doctors come from?
South Carolina State leads Norfolk State 14-10 with the final seconds of the third quarter remaining. When we left you, there was unsportsmanlike conduct on the punt.
Well, let's take a look at it right here. This is Smith with a nice move right there. Breaks a tackle right there. So the move on Michael King Tavares Chandler, and then Chandler with a classless play. A shot to Chad Smith, and that's something that Coach Jeffries doesn't profess, he doesn't preach. Check that. Maybe Chad Smith initiated.
Smith kicked Chandler. Mrs. Chandler will have you know that her son didn't initiate.
And we all know that if you step out of line talking about a Chandler in the booth or the stands, something bad could happen.
So it's 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line for Norfolk State, trailing 14-10, and I'm not quite sure where David Johnson thought Glenn Thomas was going on his route.
Well, I'm quite sure Mo Forte is wondering where David Johnson's throwing that football. Looked like it was supposed to be a in and go, and he threw it inside and didn't give his receiver a chance to go after the ball and get it. Mo got to be frustrated. It's reminiscent about the game we did last year, and I think the Fishbowl Classic, it's called down there in Norfolk, when South Carolina State came in and Norfolk's offense was really thwarted by the inefficiency of John Roberts, the quarterback at that time, and David Johnson having a John Roberts type of performance.
4 for 16, 70 yards. The interception on 2nd down goes to the air again, and again cannot connect with his receiver. This time it was McKinney out of the backfield.
But that time McKinney has got to make the play. You talk about what's in the name. Marky Corn McKinney has got to step out and make this catch. Now, here's the rush, bearing down on the quarterback, so he's got to make a hot read. He does that. Good pressure coming right up the gut that time from Adrian McLeod, a junior from Winston-Salem, whose nickname is the Pit Bull. It's only fitting that a Pit Bull would spend his college career playing for the Bulldogs. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, not sure what I want to really pursue how he got that name. 3rd downs. Johnson with time to throw. His receiver bobbles but hangs on to it. It's Preston Hines, picks up a 1st down. Brandon Houston on the stop.
Boy, I tell you, big number 77 for Norfolk State, Kenneth Lytle, a 320-pound big nasty from Temple Hills, Maryland, is doing a good job. You really can't see him right there, number 77, but he does a great job locking up the guy that was pressuring him, which allows the receiver to find the soft area in the center of the field on the crossing route, haul it in, and pick up a 1st down.
15 yards on the play. This will more than likely be the final play of the quarter as we are at the 3-second mark. Johnson on 1st down, looking to the air again, and it's short to Hines. That should end the 3rd quarter, and it will. South Carolina State, 14-10, 1 quarter away from sending Willie Jeffries out a winner.
Kolzig stacks the pads beautifully.
Here's a little cross check.
I'm Joe Beninati. I'm here with Craig Lachlan. We shoot for nothing but the best.
Well, these Comcast Sportsnet guys, they've got game.
With the 2020 Sports Desk here now is Karen Maloney.
Hey, Jake. Hey, everyone.
Wow, chickadee to Maloner.
The saucer pass.
A saucer pass that lands flat.
That's pretty stuff.
And then John are closing up the show.
Let's say still. I'm George Josh every time tonight because it was quick.
I know, baby.
It's a top shelf crew, Locker.
Top shelf, partner.
Every day's game day on Comcast Sportsnet.
What did I think of the game? I'll let you know.
It's the Ethel Ford Brian Billick Report. Mondays on BWI Spotlight. Exclusively on Comcast Sportsnet. It's here, the Play of the Day Sweepstakes, presented by Panasonic and the Sports Authority. Tune in to Logic on FDC Sports Night every night throughout November and watch the Panasonic Play of the Day. Then log on to ComcastSportsNet.com to win a grand prize of a trip for 2 to the winter sporting events in Salt Lake City. And daily prizes too. It's the Play of the Day Sweepstakes every night, exclusively on Comcast Sportsnet.
I'm Joe Beninati, and I'm here with Craig Lachlan.
We shoot for nothing but the best here on Comcast Sportsnet.
That's true, and so does Chick Hernandez, and he's been practicing big time for tonight's game.
Yes! Yeah, baby! Woo!
How about my little chickadee with the hat trick? Unbelievable.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Hey, Manzai, what's so tough about that?
every day's game day on Comcast Sportsnet.
South Carolina State leads Norfolk State 14-10 as we begin the fourth quarter of Willie Jeffries' career, his final game. This is a man that will be missed by his peers.
I just remember him as just an outstanding person, a great friend, and a fraternity brother. He's just a super guy. He's a part of Kappa Alpha Psi. We always say Kappa Alpha Psi to the day we die. So he's a fraternity brother, and I love him, and I wish him well.
Dwayne, one thing about Coach Jeffries leaving, he may be Coach Billy Joe's fraternity brother, but as a card-carrying member of the Morgan State University Alumni Association, a team that has lost 22 in a row to Willie Jeffries' coach team, have a nice life, Coach.
2nd and 10. David Johnson in trouble. Gets away from a defender. Throws it downfield. Looking for Burnett. Gerald Burks was there defensively.
Burks does a good job staying in coverage with Burnett. And that's the only reason that once Johnson gets outside the pocket, he's able to throw that pay away. We're going to get some pressure. Look at Drake Poole. We haven't called that name a whole lot.
Drake Pooler applying the pressure, and Gerald Burks defensively on the play. But Pooler, as we were told earlier by a number of folks close to the program, is quite a talent. That sets up 3rd and 10 at the 34.
Yeah, they used the term, they called him a beast, Dwayne, which is in, campus parlance, what you said. What was that you said again?
It's affectionate term there.
Right.
3rd down, Johnson under pressure again. Has a receiver across the middle, close to a 1st down. Lester Davis there defensively along with Derek Harrison.
Yeah, but the pocket presence that time of David Johnson just having enough savvy to continue to avoid the pressure of Copeland. See, look, deep drop, that's a 7-step drop. They do a good job of giving him a nice little area. He steps up in there. See, that's just pocket presence. That's just feeling the pressure from the right and the left, stepping up, delivering a strike, picking up another 1st down. So Johnson, despite his struggles, his defense has bailed him out. You know, Norfolk State right now beginning to find some semblance of rhythm with their passing game, and they're moving the ball effectively.
So Glenn Thomas's 10-yard reception leads to a 1st down. Preston Hines right into Eric Williams. Pickup of maybe 2.
Well, this Preston Hines, you know, this is the first time we've seen him, Dwayne, and they do a lot of the versatile things that a place like Bethune-Cookman does with a running back like Tajee Parrish. You'll see him running the football at 6'4", 215 pounds out of Philadelphia, New York. Now, I never knew that there was a city of brotherly love in the Big Apple State.
Just goes to show every day.
I've heard of Philadelphia, Mississippi.
It's a learning day.
But I've not heard of Philadelphia, New York.
Hines, a 2nd back. Johnson looking to throw. Looking for Glenn Thomas again, and with him once again, Gerald Burks.
Well, that's a time that David Johnson did everything. He escaped the pass rush, got outside the pocket, and he couldn't square his shoulders to deliver the strike.
Johnson, for the most part, has been, what is it, timing, or what's going on between he and the receivers?
Well, A, it may be timing, but B, it's just something strange about his release. You know, something is really strange. That's why he's got 17 misses on the afternoon, but he does have a touchdown. I don't know if it's a release thing. His mechanics just seem a little bit off. You know, it just doesn't quite seem comfortable when he has to make a pass.
On 3rd and 8, he's back to pass again. And he had Glenn Thomas open, who had beat the defender, Anthony Gathers. There is a flag on the play.
And that flag should be offensive pass interference. That was a push-off by the receiver, which gave him the release from Gathers, who was excellent in coverage. Let's see if we can check that out right here. Well, first off, watch the pocket just collapse. Boy, does Johnson take a shot from Eric Williams. And then you had the push-off, which gave Thomas some space. But he was well overthrown. And the South Carolina State Bulldog defense, in classic Willie Jeffries coaching fashion, is stepping up to carry them today.
Well, Terry Cornett is on to kick away to Carlo Hurd, whose back is on 11-yard line. Nice punt by Cornett. Hurd fair catch at the 11. So South Carolina State, the offensive unit, will take over possession with a 4-point lead.
To my sweetie Gladys, who has been my rock, I leave our home and all of my stocks and bonds.
Such a good provider.
To Melvin Jr., our family business, and the Lincoln Continental.
I love you, Dad.
And to my younger son, Trey, I leave you the one thing that brought us together. My Wittenauer.
The Wittenauer? Yo, that's fat, Pops.
Wittenauer, fine jewelry, of course.
Travel provided by U.S. Airways. U.S. Airways and U.S. Airways Express offer over 4,600 flights a day to more than 250 cities throughout the U.S., Canada, the Caribbean, and Europe. Fly U.S. Airways.
I told my father I wanted to grow up to be a teacher. Wouldn't you rather be a doctor? He said. It's a noble profession and you could become wealthy. That may be true, I said. But without teachers, where would doctors come from?
Travel provided by U.S. Airways, offering Envoy class to Europe. U.S. Airways premium transatlantic service designed for the business traveler, featuring comfortable sleeper-style seats and personalized service. U.S. Airways to Europe.
Back in Orangeburg, South Carolina, the Bulldogs lead 14-10 with 13-17 to go in the final game of Willie Jeffries' career. Listen, basketball fans, not too early to start thinking about next spring, March 4th through the 9th, Richmond, Virginia. The MEAC basketball tournament should be a thrilling affair. For more, go to www.meacsports.com.
South Carolina State Bulldogs were runner-up last year to that fine team from Hampton.
Reese McCampbell. Pickup of about 6 before he's stopped by Jamal Naji.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if the Bulldog offense remains in attack mode or whether or not they will play to rely on the defense. I don't know if that was a missed handoff, whether this was a design play, but Reese McCampbell looking a whole lot like Marvin Marshall. And those of you who watched South Carolina State over the past few seasons will remember that Marshall is the only quarterback in the history of this conference to throw and pass for 1,000 yards in the same year.
Maxwell over the left side, trying to get outside, near a first down, may very well have it. He was met by a host of Spartans, including Vaughn McAfee.
Flagler and Marcus Jelks do a good job of opening a hole off that right side, which allows Maxwell to pick up this first down. And this has been a real physical ball game. If you like physical football in the trenches, this is your kind of warfare. And it's interesting to note that despite being on the field for such a long period of time, the front 7 of Norfolk really don't look like they're wearing down.
1st and 10, ball on the ground, a miscue between quarterback and center apparently. You will notice on the field right now, number 86 for South Carolina State, Ken Jones. See their miscue there, simply communication problems.
Yep. We've seen that cost some teams some games here during the course of this season, D.
There's a look at Rodriguez Rogers, one of the twins. His brother's number 63, Roderick.
Folks were probably glad that those two kids went to school together so they could save on meal money at the crib.
And there was his brother apparently engaging in some activity before the snap.
Let's see if there's some movement here.
That's Rodriguez. And that's his brother right next to him, Roderick, number 63.
Do you think they've got a dormitory room big enough for the both of those guys?
Well, it's interesting. The one that's more reserved is the one that was involved in the activity there on the interior line. The outgoing one pretty much held his space.
And when you look at the size of those guys, I don't think there's any bunk beds in that dorm room either, do you?
Loss of yardage on the penalty. 2nd and 16. McCampbell.
Man.
post down as the Spartan defensive unit closes quickly. Brent Sanders.
Sanders having a huge game. Man, let's check it out from the pocket. Sitting back there, you are Reese McCampbell. And what do? You look, you see, okay, it looks like, well, let me take it up in there.
Ouch.
And he pays the price. Sanders delivers a big-time lift. Boy, his engine just keeps on going, doesn't it?
That's 3rd and 16, ball at the 17-yard line. McCampbell now out of the shotgun. Loss of 1 on the play. Maxwell, and this one doesn't even get back to the original line of scrimmage thanks to Leon Grove and company.
Boy, defensive coordinator Rayford Petty has got to be pleased. His linebackers, whom he also position coaches, are just doing a great job. After the line gets their surge at the point of attack, they're filling those holes and giving Maxwell and any of the other Bulldog running backs nowhere to run.
That brings on Frank Ziegler at his own 3-yard line to kick it away to Chad Smith. Cannot overstate how good of a job this young man has done punting the ball today. This time, Smith will allow it to roll down at the 34-yard line, which is where Norfolk State will take over. Ziegler, #1 in the conference in punting, and you've seen why this afternoon.
When you love something, you work really hard to get it right. So don't cut yourself short. It's as easy as ever to get HIV. You know, that virus that causes AIDS. You already know how to protect yourself. But are you really using what you know? Maybe it's time to be responsible. Make that commitment. Be a force for change. Because when you're protecting yourself, you're protecting everybody.
Listen to your kids. You need to be really open-minded, not to preach and not to judge.
Be a friend to your child too, you know, let your child know that they can come talk to you.
You got to be able to listen to each other. That's the basis of everything.
Listening is mainly with your ears and not talking at all.
Without listening, there can't be any understanding.
I don't know if a lot of people understand that, but you just sit there and you listen.
Protect your kids from AIDS. Listen to them.
Back in Orange Grove, South Carolina, the South Carolina State Bulldogs lead Norfolk State 14-10. Our Coca-Cola NCAA scoreboard activity around the country. Pittsburgh over West Virginia, Ohio State, still that's a shocker, over Michigan in Ann Arbor.
And it's just almost as shocking as what happened in Nebraska yesterday in Boulder, Colorado. Wisconsin falling at Minnesota. Glenn Mason's team turning the corner. And in that battle for the Old Oaken Bucket, Antoine Randall leads Purdue.
On first down for Norfolk State, problems with the offensive unit.
Mass confusion, which leads to hysteria.
Which is never good.
No, certainly not with a blitz bearing down on you. David, you can only hope that there will be better days.
Loss of 6 on the play. David Johnson, a frustrating afternoon for that young man, unable to really get into any kind of rhythm.
And as David Grain, our illustrious audio person, reminds me, that was a song by Diane Reeves, Better Days. You don't listen to that kind of music.
Of course I do. Diane Reeves, very talented. On 2nd and 16, Johnson basically trying to get rid of it. There was a marker at midfield.
I think we may have an illegal blocker downfield.
He was trying to get away from Ken Jones. Jeffries is trying to lobby, I think, with the officials.
Still lobbying with 9:03 to go in his career. Yep, there's somebody going downfield a little early, trying to set up that screen. And Jeff's like, forget about it.
ineligible lineman downfield on the offense. That penalty is declined. It's third down.
I think I saw the first MEAC overtime game in this building, Wayne. 6 overtimes. One of the hardest hitting games I ever saw.
I'd rather you not mention a 6 overtime game at the moment while we're still in regulation. It's just a 4-point game.
Okay.
9:03 to go. David Johnson once again under pressure, and Ken Jones had him wrapped up.
Ken Jones is an incredible athlete. This is a guy that does a lot of the blocking when they're trying to run the option, sealing people to the inside from his tight end position. Here is a defensive end just continuing the work. And the thing that's most impressive is that he beats with a rush in the fourth quarter a 300-pound lineman, and this is after he's gone both ways for the balance of the afternoon.
And he's the strongest man on the team, bench pressing 525 pounds.
Wow.
Terry Carnett kicking away to Gouldsby, who decides to return it. Not a good decision at all. Flags on the play.
Wow. And
Anthony Dillard there defensively, but there may have been a hand near a face mask.
There. Or some head-to-head contact. Not exactly a cerebral decision here, but if he doesn't make it and the ball hits the ground again, it's probably going to cost his team about 15 yards. Anthony Dillard, the wide receiver, looks like he got a hold of the face mask. And
return, 5-yard face mask penalty against the defense. That penalty will be enforced from the end of the run. Be first down for South Carolina. Timeout.
The Bulldogs have an opportunity to get a little more. They take advantage of a penalty face mask by Norfolk State. So South Carolina State with that 4-point lead. Reese McCampbell still at quarterback will have possession beginning at the 25-yard line. 8:44 to go in this game. Sam Smith, Mark Gray, Dwayne Ballin from Orangeburg, South Carolina. Our Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference game of the week. McCampbell to the air on first down, looking for Larry Grant. Alton Perkins there defensively.
Wow, I was thinking as he was going into that play, this would be a great time to go up top to try to stress the defense with a play to Metcalf. But they go to the opposite way, and that's because McCampbell, well, he looks over there, and he never really gave a chance to Metcalf to get open. He really never looked over there. He had decided, hey, I'm coming back to the near side, and I'm going to go to Grant. Unfortunately, it was almost into the waiting hands of Norfolk.
Well, Grant is considered the man with the best hands on the team. 2nd and 10. Washington is nailed,
man,
by Kyron Copeland.
Boy, Copeland, he was just kind of lurking there when he got around the corner to stick him. Watch this, and you're gonna hear this too. Man, I'm gonna ache in the morning having just listened to that shot.
Wow. 3rd down. Jacques Philistine.
Well, you know something, Dwayne?
In there defensively.
Here's the deal. As clearly, he has to be MVP of the all-name team. Jacques Philistine. That's a great name. But I'll tell you something. Eerily reminiscent to games that South Carolina State has lost in the most recent past. You know, they're playing not to lose right now. It's a very conservative start to this drive. I mean, they tried to come out with a pass play kind of short that was almost intercepted, and Norfolk's not letting them run the football at all right now.
Frank Ziegler punting away to Chad Smith, who this time will allow the ball to roll. Another nice punt by Ziegler.
As a National Car Rental Emerald Club member, you can bypass the counter, which saves time. Take the car of your choice, which saves time. And now when Emerald Club members return their car, National will fill it up at self-serve prices, which saves money and time. You see, if we can give you back even 43 minutes, then we've done our job. 43 minutes. How will you spend it? The Emerald Club from National.
You can go your own way. Go your own way.
It is more than a trial by fire. It is a rite of passage. And if you can master your fear, outsmart your enemy, and never yield, even to yourself, you will be changed forever. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The U.S. Postal Service comes to your business so that your business can go further, here and across the globe. Your clients benefit from the time and money you save. At a single website, you will find the tools you need for controlling shipping costs, obtaining postage, verifying deliveries.
You're not leaving?
No, I'm staying, in case one of your clients needs me.
The U.S. Postal Service. Tools for small business.
Back in Orangeburg, South Carolina State leads Norfolk State 14-10, 7:13 to go. My partner, Mark Gray, has compiled his best for the season from the MEAC.
That's right, MG's 2001 All-Star team. Don't send any hate mail to Dwayne Bowling. It's all on me. My quarterback, Alan Suber, simply the best in all of 1AA. Second best running back in all of 1AA, Maurice Hicks from North Carolina A&T. The most versatile man in the conference, Tajee Parrish. The best two receivers I saw, Javante Philpott of Howard and Zuriel Smith of Hampton. That kid Philpott had a big season despite playing on a bad football team. He caught touchdown passes from 5 different quarterbacks. And then my offensive, of course, the tight end, Marcus Bryson. If Bill Hayes had thrown the ball more to Bryson as tight end, and I think the Aggies would have continued to roll after they lost Maurice Hicks. And then the big nasties up front, Terry Logan from FAMU, Quazine Mitchell from A&T, Darren Herndon, a legitimate NFL prospect from Bethune-Cookman, and Marcus Ogden. That's right, Jonathan Ogden's little brother of the Baltimore Ravens. Well, that rounds out the offensive stars of MG's 2001 team.
Due to a penalty, it's 1st and 15. Preston Hines on the receiving end of that one. Derek Harrison knocks him down at the 30-yard line. No, we have not forgotten about the defensive unit. We'll hear from Coach Gray a little later on that squad.
How you think? You think we could take that team in another conference and do some work there?
I'm sure, without very little effort on the part of you or I, because of the talent.
And that's what it's all about. You know, you recruit. You just bring talent in.
Harrison, you saw transferred in from Appalachian State. They're very high on this young man from right here in Orangeburg. Leads the team with 129 tackles coming in, and Johnson is in trouble. Gets it away, but the closest player to the ball was number 47 for South Carolina State, Jamar Glenn.
Well, watch the presence of Johnson, who's just in big trouble. See, he escapes one rush there from Bryant Gathers. He escapes one right there, and then he takes a shot after he delivers it from Irving Manning. So that was a painful incompleted pass for David Johnson, but it's been a painful afternoon for him, teammates, fans of Norfolk State.
Young man from Chesapeake, Virginia, 5'11", 185-pound junior, just hasn't been able to get his footing in this game. Goes down once again under the pressure. Jason Bush.
And you got to give a lot of credit to the coverage in the secondary, but Bush just basically beats the guy that's blocking him. Watch right here. There's nothing fancy about what he does. It would appear that the big nasties up front are becoming a little bit worn down by the pressure that South Carolina State's front seven is getting in on him. He just runs right past a block that time of Norfolk State's Jeremiah Birch. The sophomore just gets beat, and that leads to the sack. And we got a bad snap.
Hornet has to run for his life, and he's corralled. There is a loose ball on the field. This is live. Wow,
compounding a bad situation with another mental brain lock. Norfolk State is giving South Carolina State the ball inside their own 20-yard line, DB, with a chance to effectively ice the game.
Well, after the bad snap, Cornette was corralled by Jermaine Brown, and then the madness ensued.
Well, this is Cornette. Big kid getting around the corner. Now he's going to lateral right here. That's Marcus Gray, I believe, who tries one more lateral that nobody was expecting. And South Carolina State is the beneficiary of another brain cramp from Norfolk. If Norfolk loses this game, they will be kicking themselves and see -12 in turnover margin, dead last in the conference, or the Spartans.
1st and 10 for the Bulldogs from the 13. McCampbell going to the air. He was looking for Terrence Metcalf. Alton Perkins defensively was there.
I mean, it looked like Alton Perkins that time just ran a better pass route than Metcalf. I mean, wow. Metcalf was supposed to be going to the corner of the end zone, and that pass really had no chance. Now, see, this is the area of the field, Dwayne, where I thought that South Carolina would just go ahead, line up, go mano a mano, but they respect the front seven of Norfolk State to the extent that they're going to try to pass for the end zone inside the 15.
2nd down, markers fly.
Flag on the play.
There's some nervous kids down there right now. They can smell that they can put this victory on ice for Coach Jeff.
Right at the snap. Ball start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
So that's just eagerness, nerves, wanting to do well and send Coach Jeffries out.
Exactly.
Well, Metcalf checks back in.
And see, they're going to have to pick up about another 10 to 12 yards to make it a legitimate field goal opportunity, because they've been woeful, to say the least, as far as field goal kicking is concerned this season.
2nd and 15 now with the penalty. Ball at the 18. Maxwell trying to run wide left, and they close on him. Jamal Najee leading the way.
Well, Najee gets credit for the tackle, but I got to tell you something. This kid, Alton Perkins, turns that play back to the inside, and that's how Najee's able to make this tackle. But watch, 24 is going to come up as this sweep is set up, and it looks like it's ready to develop. He turns that play inside right about here, and then Najee right there cleans it up. Boy, that's great team defense. The linebacking crew, and this is Najee, who's got one more year left, New Jersey native from right outside Atlantic City. But I marvel at the effectiveness of team defense. The linebackers are in such concert at Norfolk. There's a splendid unit to watch.
Timeout. South Carolina State.
South Carolina State with the opportunity to close it out. They want to talk about it.
Football requires various skills and talents.
It's a team game that represents diversity at its best. Big cities, small towns, diverse backgrounds unifying for a common cause.
NCAA football is about cooperation. It's about teamwork. The effort just doesn't click when you're going in different directions.
There's only one way to do things. Together. NCAA football. Pass it on.
Is your small business experiencing growing pains? The U.S. Postal Service has tools to help your small business manage shipping costs, whether your packages are big or small, domestic or international. The U.S. Postal Service, helping small business to deliver the American dream.
I told my father I wanted to grow up to be a teacher. Wouldn't you rather be a doctor? He said. It's a noble profession and you could become wealthy. That may be true, I said. But without teachers, where would doctors come from?
Willie Jeffries Jeffries Bulldogs lead Norfolk State 14-10, 4:35 to go in his amazing career.
That's a look of a coach who can smell it. He can feel it. We are so close to icing this game right now, and it's killing him. And he's hoping that his offense coordinator, Darryl McNeil, who is one of the guys that's being mentioned to replace him here, can find a play that will get him into the end zone. But as it stands, with a 4-point lead, you want to make sure that you at least come out of this with an opportunity to kick a field goal, so you force Norfolk State to have to go the length of the field for the touchdown with less than 4 minutes to go.
3rd and 15 from the 18. McCampbell elects to run. Scrambles down to near the 10-yard line where Jonathan Jones was waiting for him.
There's another one of those great names. We've got a Jacques Philistine, a Jonathan Jones, a Marky Coyne McKinney. That's just the all-name team right there. And here we go. 4th down situation here. No confidence in your kicking game. Going to try to pick up the 1st down. Boy, you talk about incredible roll of the dice. Here it is.
That 6-yard pickup puts it at the 12-yard line. 4th and 9. This may be to secure it. Maxwell nearly falls. Does not get the 1st down. So Norfolk State will take over possession. Jamal Najee on the tackle.
Boy, was he. I mean, Maxwell tried to reverse his field and cut it back inside. But that kid from Brigantine, New Jersey, right across the bridge from Atlantic City, just lines up on him. See, tried to reverse his field, cut it back up in the inside right there. Najee fills the hole, brings him down. And David Johnson, despite struggling and playing basically a bad football game, has his team 91 yards away from making a very unhappy day of Coach Jeffries' last stand.
Both teams opportunity to close out on a winning note for the first time since 1997. Flags on the play. Sam Smith, Mark Gray, Dwayne Ballon, along with our entire MEAC crew that has been with us the entire season. Great group of people have been here working with us.
On the offense, penalized half to the goal. It's still 1st down.
And we've enjoyed bringing you the telecast. This is our final regular season one. Of course, more fitting having Willie Jeffries on as he says goodbye to the game.
Reset the game clock to 3-4.
And there's David Johnson. A 25% passing day on the afternoon. He's got a TD, though. And he hasn't made a mistake.
1st and 15 at the 4-yard line for Norfolk State, trailing 14-10, 3:47 to go in regulation. Johnson out of his own end zone, elects to run. And Derek Harrison,
he
fumbles, forces a fumble. But he may have recovered it. It appears the officials are ruling that the ball was down.
Boy, there was one of those sounding board hits. Wow.
Harrison really gave him a shot.
Play action fake. He's got ample time to survey. Then he just steps up in there and he's going to decide to make a play. But I got to tell you something. We'll come back to that after a moment.
2nd and 9, and Johnson goes down.
Well, that time they just put too many people in the box. And instead of pulling back, dropping into a 2-deep zone, the blitz comes, and Drake Pooler from Dublin, Georgia, this kid sat out last year, the business management major, and watch him. Oh, he just ran over a block and made the tackle. Boy, he's one of those guys like Sean Kelly at Florida A&M, Darrell Diab at Hampton. You know, this guy, Drake Pooler, I got to tell you something. There's some talented defensive players that are going to be coming back throughout this conference next year, and we just saw one of them.
3rd and 16 at the 3-yard line for Norfolk State. David Johnson ends up with the ball and very little in the way of plus yardage.
And that clock rolling now, coming up on the 2-minute mark.
We are inside of 2 minutes to go in the career of Willie Jeffries. South Carolina State coaching legend.
And it's going to be strange coming back to Orangeburg in the future and not seeing Coach Jeff on the sideline. So those of you from South Carolina, when you see the rebroadcast of the game,
Norfolk State, first charge timeout.
you need to start the write-in campaign now to have O.C. Dawson Stadium and Willie Jeffries Field. The precedent has been set in Atlanta, where you've got Bobby Dodd Stadium at historic Grant Field. And we have O.C. Dawson Stadium and historic Willie Jeffries Field.
Go to your position, man.
The new Carol Jones Office Supply
I want to thank the media relations directors from both schools for helping us with this telecast. From Norfolk State, Randy Jones, and South Carolina State, Bill Hamilton. Made this week a lot easier for us.
Advanced business and computer solutions.
MEAC Football 2001 is brought to you by National Car Rental, U.S. Airways, NUE TV, so South Carolina State and Norfolk State, Norfolk State elects to take a safety on that play, Coach Gray. What do you think?
It defies rational explanation. I don't get it. I just simply don't get it. You know, I know it's a difficult situation to be punting out of, but you've assured, well, it was a 4-point lead anyway, so you're going to have to score the touchdown anyway. But to relinquish possession and then put the burden
1:41 to go.
Yeah, that's, you know, Mo Forte is a little bit out of the box when it comes to game strategy anyway. The last time these teams met in Norfolk, the game went into overtime. You look at any of those sheets that tell you how to govern your plays according to overtime. They tell you if you win the toss, you take the ball. He put his defense out on the field, and we were all struck. Well, why did you do that? Mo had it figured that, you know, if his D could stop them, it puts the burden on their D, and his offense could roll, and they were able to win the game. And Mo is a minute and 41 seconds from keeping that ignominious streak alive.
It was a 32-yard field goal last year by Terry Cornett up in Norfolk. That was the difference, 24-21. Now the kick. It's going to be fielded by McCampbell, the quarterback.
I think they were looking for a pooch kick or onside kick of that variety. So now basically, with 2 timeouts left, all South Carolina State basically has to do is hold on to the football now. A minute 36 seconds to go. I don't even think they have to get a timeout here.
The executive producer of MEAC Football is Johnny Ties. Today's game produced by Rick Woliniak and directed by Chuck May.
Got to give props to the entire crew for keeping us in the know all season long.
A wonderful crew we have, top-notch, best in the business. We've really enjoyed the season with this group of people. 47-yard kick sets up first down at the 41 for South Carolina State, which basically simply has to move the chains once or twice, and it's over.
There's a quick timeout by Norfolk.
1:25 to go here in Orangeburg. South Carolina State leading.
Timeout. Norfolk State, their second charge time.
MEAC Football 2001 is brought to you by National Car Rental, U.S. Airways, NUE TV, Nike, and by Wittenauer.
He is the previous record holder.
Willie Jeffries, 126 away from ending a special career. Our Bank of America players of the game for Norfolk State: Leon Grove, 8 tackles, 1 interception, and of course the no-brainer for South Carolina State.
Willie Jeffries, I mean, he's a minute and 26 seconds from ending the season with a 5-game win streak. finishing above the 500 mark for the first time since 1997. And as I recall, it'll be his, the 123rd victory of his illustrious career.
We've been talking about possible replacements for him as his Bulldogs keep it on the ground. Maxwell goes down on second down. We mentioned Brick McNeil, Darryl McNeil, the offensive coordinator, on his staff now, but you also have some other names, Mark.
Yeah, there are a lot of people. The one at the top of the list, Buddy Pugh, the University of South Carolina running back coach, noted for his effectiveness at recruiting. There's Barney Chavis, who played here at South Carolina State, currently a Denver Broncos linebackers coach. Darryl McNeil, the current South Carolina State University offensive coordinator, who coached at Johnson C. Smith and Savannah State. Ben Blacknall, I think, is kind of interesting since he's laying the foundation at Delaware State. L.C. Cole, the current Alabama State head coach, who lost to Tuskegee yesterday, has been telling everybody that when they played the Magic City Classic, that was his last time he'd be coaching in that Classic for Alabama State without a contract. Rick Comagee is quite an interesting story. That was one of Billy Joe's assistants at Central State. They parted Central State at the same time. He's been a dominant coach in the SIAC, which is a D2 conference. There's also another Division II coach in the Kermit Blunt as well. So it'll be interesting to watch this saga unfold.
3rd and 11 for Jeffries Bulldogs at the 40-yard line. They need a first down to keep the ball out of Norfolk State's hands.
Actually, they're going to down it, and I bet you they're going to let it just run down as long as it can before they punt.
Well, Norfolk State can still call a timeout.
They're out of timeouts right now. They burned their last one. So they'll get the ball back.
With 1:05, 1:04 to go.
So South Carolina State will probably count this down. Remember, it's a 25-second play clock that has not begun yet.
90.3 FM. The Bulldogs participating in the Big Island Tournament in Hilo, Hawaii, will take on Mercer University.
Time is winding down.
Hey, man, thanks for putting on
Willie Jeffries' career.
I hope I didn't get on your nerves too much.
It's been a great regular season, friends. We're glad you've joined us as Frank Ziegler comes on the punt. On behalf of all of us here at MEAC TV, we just want to say to Coach Jeffries, we've enjoyed being a very small part of watching you. And, you know, I talked to him earlier, as you know, and he kept making me laugh. And this is one of the reasons why. Listen.
When I took the team first time to Washington, D.C., and a player got lost, and he called on the telephone. I said, well, you don't have a problem. Where are you? He said, I'm downtown. I said, no problem. Just put the phone down, look out and tell me, look at the street sign, tell me where you are and we'll come get you. He went out, he looked, he came back. He said, Coach, I'm down on the corner of Walk and Don't Walk Street. He didn't even know where to find the sign.
Oh, he's got a classic one. There's one even better that he tells when he took the job at Howard. He said he'd come down from South Carolina State where he'd go out in the middle of the football field and tell players, hey, go over there and run over that tree. And the guys from South Carolina State would go over there and try to run over the tree. He got to Howard to say, go over there and knock that tree down. This is the players at Howard like, excuse me, Coach, what are you talking about? Oh, Jeff got millions of them, man.
Coach Willie Jeffries, a very special man. Fortunately for us, he will remain around the game of football. Ziegler kicks it away to Chad Smith. We're inside of 20 seconds to go.
Well, Norfolk is going to get one great big play. If you look down on the Bulldogs sideline, I think we got number 76 right now that's hovering around the water cooler. And I got the feeling right now that they're lurking. Now remember, it was Harry Carson, an ex-South Carolina State Bulldog, who began this celebratory theme of the Gatorade shower. See, it's a Powerade. See, here it is. That's Ziegler. See, look at these guys. Here, check that, Justin Kinley, who's had a lot of success here.
And then there's Ziegler, number 28. So a number of guys are just getting ready. Johnson, last-ditch effort. It is nearly intercepted. He will actually have time for another play. 7 seconds remaining on the clock.
Well, everybody had their hand on the football. And you know something? Those camera guys, they are in the line of fire. Now, if you're standing around a coach or a player that's about to get dunked, here's a news flash. You will get wet. Now, I happen to be standing.
Sam Smith is standing well back. Nice suit on. He's...
Now, Sam, watch it now. You could get wet, too.
No. That's Sean Fry and David Ziegler.
I remember being in the locker room tonight that Deion Sanders gave Tim McCarver the bath, and, well, I was standing too close to McCarver.
And that will do it. Willie Jeffries will close out a tremendous career and get a bath, courtesy his players, as the great man goes out a 16-10 victor over Norfolk State.
I don't think he liked that.
South Carolina State 16, Norfolk State 10. Willie Jeffries says goodbye as a winner, a legend, leaves the field.
We're going to miss him. We're going to miss you, Coach. We're going to miss you a lot.
Coach Jeffries, thanks so much for all of the memories. 16-10, his Bulldogs send them out on top. Our next telecast is next Saturday. Florida A&M in an opening round playoff matchup. Please join us. Time to be determined. MEAC Football producing the
special presentation celebrating Black History Month.
Hello, I'm Jason Jackson for ESPN Classic. He was the flag bearer, the first African-American to become a head football coach at any Division 1A school. Willie Jeffries was hired by Wichita State University for the 1979 season, and neither he nor the university knew exactly what to expect. Over the next half hour, we shall see the triumph and the struggles of a man whose name does not ring a bell, but should.
He has had such a tremendous impact on the nation and particularly young black coaches of this country that it is almost synonymous with Jackie Robinson.
I'm sure the opportunity for me to be a head football coach started in 1979 when Willie Jeffries broke the color barrier.
There could not have been a better man to be selected for the person to break that color barrier.
Prior to the 1979 season, there had never been a black head coach in all of Division 1A college football. The NFL hadn't had a black head coach since Fritz Pollard in the mid-1920s. The stigma was the residue of prejudice that an African-American somehow couldn't lead.
1979 was a time that most athletic departments, most front offices weren't even thinking of black head football coaches, weren't thinking of general managers, weren't thinking of anybody really in a position of authority.
Black coaches were absolutely unheard of. To even suggest that a black individual be an athletic director or an associate athletic director was laughable.
It's mind-boggling that you still didn't have a black head coach at a major university. And the reason I'm saying that is because they had such a preponderance of black players on the team.
There were some teams that were like closed shop. I mean, no matter what your credentials were, you weren't going to get the job if you were non-white.
The black coach automatically became the assistant coach, regardless as to his record, his philosophy of life, whatever.
Before Willie Jeffries, Wichita State had gone through 7 head coaches in 15 years, but had only one winning season to show for it. Desperate for someone to recruit more African-American